Welcome everybody to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and as always, we're going to be digging into the topics to keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. So come on in, kick your feet up, get an ice cold beverage, and get ready to join the conversation. Once again, coming together on a late night call-in show. Seems that this show has been doing okay. You know, we've had a lot of people come up and talk about different things, various things. We've gotten into some really deep things. We've had some people come up and talk about their experiences. We had some people, you know, admit this is the first time they ever spoken out about their experience, which is a wonderful thing, because that's the type of place we want to build here. We want to build a place where it's comfortable for all the viewers to come forward and voice your experience. Let it off your chest. It's therapeutic. And also it helps the entire movement. It adds to the data that we have out there. We need to collect everyone's experiences. As like I said before, ufology is a minority when you think about it. However, if more people came out and talked about their experiences and got it off their chest, we might find out that it's actually the majority that has these experiences. And then we're working with something there. So hope we have another great show tonight. You know, I already have some people in the back here that are going to be stepping on the stage. And like I always need to do, is bring up the call-in line. We're going to go ahead and bring that up here. That is going to be 856-843-3444, or that's 856-THE-DIGG. So you have the opportunity to call in directly through the message line, or you can actually jump on stage. The StreamYard link is in the chat. Then you can click on that link. That will bring you in backstage, and we can add you to the conversation. I want to thank everybody for coming, and let's welcome everybody who has showed up here to have the conversation. And I wonder if we'll get some new people jumping on stage too. I know the person in the back would agree with me. And I'm sure he's going to say the same thing when I bring him up. Did I give a clue? I said he, huh? All right. Area 51 came through first. Thank you for coming. Magneticus, thank you for coming in. Susie B, thanks for coming. Love be love. Appreciate you showing up. To Mothman, thanks for coming in. Deb from SAC, nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Nicole, a.k.a. Coley. You know you can jump in at any time you are ready, Miss Coley. And let's see. We have more people in here. Derek Galloway. The Derek Galloway, is he going to show up? Is he going to speak his mind today? Christine, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Maggie M10, thank you for coming tonight, or this morning, wherever you're at. Afternoon, possibly for you. Evening, maybe. Yeah, huh? Let's see. Let's keep going. Bomber, man, thanks for coming on in. Let's see. And Bomber, I don't know if you were there at the end of the show, but your question did get addressed. Mr. Doty brought it up. So because he did that, that opened the door for me to be able to pursue that question on your behalf. And he did answer that. Let's see. Who else do we see in here? Neil Warden, thank you for coming in. JSCO77, thanks for joining us. We hopefully are going to have new voices today, in addition to the ones that we already know and love. Mike Bothwell, thank you for coming in. Let's see. Christine, how often do we do these live after hours? The plan has been for the last few weeks every day after, right after hours. So Saturday and Sunday is currently how it runs, and it's 15 minutes after hours ends, unless we have like some spaced out radio meeting or something that makes me run a little late. Other than that, it's like clockwork. Let's see. Yeah, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. Wow. Let's see. Susan Alloway, thanks for coming in. We should hear some of your peers' voices. You would be surprised. Mike, the number is pinned at the top of the chat and right here on the screen as well. Okay, let's see. Kira I am. Thanks for showing up, Kira. Welshammer, thank you for coming through. Let's have a great conversation. Let's hear from our peers, our SOR peers. Let's hear it. Yeah, looks like that's it. We're all caught up. So with that being said, we should be having a great conversation. I have a couple people, looks like now, back in the back. And as we fade out our music here, we are going to bring on none other than Nicole Coley Weber.
Hey.
And Area 51.
Oh, hey. Yeah, here we go.
Hey, how are you guys doing, man? Hey, by the way, I want to thank you guys for the show tonight. You guys, for some reason, the chemistry between both of you is so amazing. I love it.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's appreciated. Yeah, thank you so much.
I literally soak it all in, and I like, you guys stir the pot a little bit, and I like that.
Yeah. That's
last night, by the way, too. Last night with Dave Scott in the panel. Oh my God! All of you guys went ham. Like you guys went to the.
We went on ham yesterday, man. I will say we did go ham yesterday, and
yeah, he was a little.
But those are the conversations that we have to have on every stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that was, but I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. I'm really glad.
Yeah, that was such a good. Last night was a good show.
Great. That's what we're trying to do going forward. We're trying to keep that going, man. So we're just gonna do what we do, and hopefully that continues, and we watch SOR grow, because as you know or may not know, we're about to hit 24K. On subs over there. Yeah, so I mean that's a big thing, and then we'll be pushing obviously for more and more going forward. But the great thing is that we're seeing growth happen, and that's exactly what we wanted. And I just, and all these new names that enter the chat every day, I'm always surprised. I'm just saying that when I'm in there, I'm like, man, this is another new name. Wow. Someone else who has been tipped off to what's going on over at SOR, whether it was a share. If it's a share, thank you. And if you haven't shared, please share. And but they found their way in, and I think they really enjoy what they find when they come over. So I'm happy for them that they found it, and we're going to keep it going. Here I am. Hey, y'all, give some love to the thumbs up for Rob. Thank you so much, Kira. Yeah, I try to do this here for all the viewers to have a voice, and I think we're going to hear some more voices tonight. I know we have Coley back for her second time. We got Juan back for like the fifth time, man. It's all good. Keep coming, Juan.
I want to encourage people to come and and you do. I'm no one. That's how I feel. So I want.
You know how I feel about that one. Come on.
Like I want people to come in and let's encourage everyone to speak, because that's like, to me, like the way that I feel about SOR and you guys. Like I want people to like I want to walk into a bar and meet all of you, and like we sit at a round
Let's
table,
do it.
and then
Let's-
just like
yeah.
have a drink, and let's
Let's
talk
do it.
about stuff, you know. And so like if we can't create that
Our party.
And
online,
look, Juan, we're
It's-
gonna have to invite our other guest here, which is Magneticus
oh, of
Attractus.
course, man.
Oh, I was hoping he'd come on. I have questions for him.
So
two people
Magneticus, gotta invite
literally-
Magneticus. It's not a
we
party
live in the
without
same state.
some Magneticus Attractus. Welcome,
Can you hear me?
Magneticus. Yes, sir.
Can
we
you hear me?
very well.
Am I
We can
like
hear-
peeking the mic?
You're a little
No,
loud.
no. I don't hear
Why
you.
are you guys
loud. Do you guys hear
in
me
your
loud?
faces? Yeah.
Under plan settings.
Everybody in their pajamas.
Yeah, some people it's a step-by-step
How's that?
process. So right now we're at the voice level, and then we may get to the picture level one day. It's all about the courage and the ability to come out and
It's hard to do it
Share.
at first.
yeah,
Oh,
I mean
man.
it is.
I remember my first couple. I was like, I mean, they were
I
bad.
appreciate you guys for doing it because it's hard to put yourself out there, you know, for someone who like I thought I lost my voice today and I wasn't gonna be able to come on because I went karaokeing tonight. And
yeah.
I got back and I came back and I was like, no, I gotta run back. I gotta go home.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome, Juan. That is
yeah,
awesome.
I like karaoke for like two songs.
You
I was
cut,
like, oh, I
you
gotta
cut
go home.
the
Like, I don't
karaoke.
wanna...
Oh, that's a tough
And then,
one.
You
man.
should have played it on the big screen.
So it's like
That's a
oh,
tough
you know,
one.
it's tough to put yourself out there as like, you know,
It
me,
is.
as a musician, as a DJ, and you guys do it almost every day, you know.
And-
Well,
Oh,
maybe-
and are you DJing the karaoke?
oh no.
Oh, okay.
No,
You mean
no.
in general
I
being
DJ on the-
yeah,
on the
okay.
side as well, and
Yeah, oh, Lovely Love, who actually was one
Oh,
Lovely
Lovely
Love
Love.
actually
Yeah.
came
She
on
wants
and
me to
showed her
sing.
face.
I can't right now. My voice is shot.
on
She
up.
showed her home. She shared her voice, and she shared a
Oh,
great
come on up.
story. So did Susie B. Susie B came in, turned the camera on, shared her story, shared multiple stories, hung out with me for most of the show last week on the Sunday when we were getting really deep and really real. And just, man, it was so just like authentic and so just realistic. And Susie B was sitting right there and
I
was
want to see
right
Susie.
in tune.
Come on up.
Right
Yeah.
in tune.
Come up. Lovey Love should come up too.
Yeah,
There's a
Lovely
lot of people-
Love.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
even-
look,
Her friends should come up,
she's
too.
broken the ice, and I know that she'll probably, if we poke her enough, she may just boom pop
And
up
the only
in
person
the
that we
background.
can't poke is Derek Galloway for some reason. Like he won't come up.
Derek
Yeah.
ain't gonna get on here.
I love Derek.
Derek's chicken.
Yeah, I love him too, and he's like a really like I've become
I'm
so
waiting
good
for Derek
with a lot of
Galloway,
people on
man.
here.
I
That's
have
why I
so
love
much
him.
faith in Derek Galloway, man. I know once he comes, he's gonna bring
Reno.
it.
Everyone's gotta go to
He's
Reno.
gonna bring it, but he keeps talking about his price, and
His
yeah,
price.
we're not gonna pay that, Derek. We're just gonna pay attention when you're up here on stage and you're talking. So
Right.
I think that might be enough. Hopefully, sir. Yeah.
What are you, Stephen Greer? Like you're charging us for five?
Yeah.
Exactly. Charging us for access. That's the definition of grifting. Charging us for the access to the information.
I'm
Grifting
waiting for
101.
I'm waiting for C6 to come out, and then I'll be like,
C6.
we'll see what he comes.
Derek,
Do you
this ain't
realize
this
that
ain't
you absorb that he said that he's going to disclose this whole thing and has a timeline? Like he's legitimately said he's going. And then I asked him about if we had been to the moon, and he said no. I was laughing. There's a
No,
big.
I think he heard, have you been to the moon?
No, he knew what I was talking about. Because I've talked to him on the back end before. So,
Well,
and then I found out. Yeah, I found out. I kind of have a way into the conversation. I'll tell you about it later. But I think it will get us some good leads.
Yeah,
If-
yeah.
if-
More, he got the
Do you know
SOR
project I
treatment.
was working on?
Say again.
sorry. I'm just going to tell you about the project I was working on real quick and where I was going. I
Yeah.
have the 3 surveys that they had given the Roper pulled up. That was Robert Bigelow. That and the timing, he was in NIDS and he knew that's Black Budget Project. And also, I have it, and I'm honestly, I think that if the experiencers took it, we could backlog it and see what they're looking for. Because he said several times in there that, oh, we're following, but he would never identify what they were looking for. So I'm just saying, if anybody wants to take on a project, that's what I would do.
Well, that's
And I have all the
drop those tidbits because we have to save the anticipation for that next Dodie appearance. And then then we'll drop it. Then we'll drop it on them real heavy. So you heard what she said. There's still more. There's still more fuel in the tank as far as where the conversation would go. And if we had more time, maybe it would have gone that way. But we'll have him back because he stated he's coming back for the book. And then so that's the first one, to get to know him, and then second show it's like, okay, now we know each other, let's go ahead and really talk about some stuff. So I think that's gonna be an even better show than this one was. But this one was a really good show, so I was happy with it. I think he is, he's a dude. He's a dude, man. And the biggest, the whole misinformation thing, right? Disinformation. And here's my view on this thing, right? I feel like, when it comes to people in the government, they swear to an oath, technically, to protect and serve and do all these things, right? So they're doing a job. And if you hear any of them talk, not just Dodie, I had a job to do, our military, on down the line. So we, I understand the criticism for Dodie, and then if you look at the whole Benowitz thing, then you could potentially, in some way kind of try to place it on the tactics that were used, but at the same time,
has anyone seen Making a Murder? And it was before it's a Stephen Avery case where they had this guy who's locked up.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah. Did you? Okay, so you watched the Netflix version of it. Did you watch the Daily Wire with Candace Owens?
I have not. Yeah, Candace.
Oh my God. If you watch it, you are gonna freak out because I was like, that guy is so innocent. He is so, there's nothing.
Yeah, that is a great, and I'm very into the crime and I don't know, for some reason, like UFOs and like that just literally goes hand in hand together for me. And it's just so interesting. Like, I don't care about ghosts. I don't care about demons, or like, I know, I'm sorry for people who probably think that, but I only care about aliens and literally like forensic science and like the murder scenes and for all that CSI stuff.
I have my master's in mental therapy and my specializations in forensics. I wanted to try.
I love it. I love it.
I have my PhD done, but I didn't finish it.
I've been watching, so I think that caused the stir in my family because I said, someone asked me one day, because Scott Peterson, when he allegedly, I still say allegedly, murdered Lacey Peterson. I said, I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it. Like 100%. I'm 100% convinced that Scott Peterson didn't murder his wife. And they're like, so dude, he was cheating. And they're like, well, a cheater doesn't mean you're a murderer. No. It just means you're an a-hole, like you gotta go backwards, man. Like let's
you gotta
I'm gonna pause you right there. Because we're getting people in the chat saying they're lost, and because this conversation just took a left turn. So
I'm still a baby.
Is he on still? I just want him to look at
Man,
something.
me and Scott Peterson have the same birthday.
So
Was it
with that,
you?
so let's go back. All right. So finishing about, because we just got finished talking to Rick Doty, right? So we need to finish
yeah,
that. We need to
yeah,
finish that thought. So with that being said, and then we'll open it up to the floor. So, okay. So with Rick Doty, like I was stating, think what you will of the guy. A lot of people feel like he may have had hands in making what happened to Benowitz happen, and in some ways that may be true, but at the same time, if you believe the story that Doty tells, he states that all they did, and your opinion is your opinion on it, but he said all they did was he was seeing top secret government projects, or he was filming it, which would happen to be the drone program before we released the drones, and they didn't want him to. They wanted him to believe that those were UFOs, and
He
so
knew
he
he was
went with
working
that
for
story.
a black budget project. That's what's
Right.
happening. Pictures of the
Well,
black
the Predator
So
drones.
the Predator drones, right? So this is at a time when those were still top secret and testing, and
Mhm.
according to Doty, he stated that those were what this guy was actually taking pictures of before they were announced or released. So, in order to, if there was some sort of foreign intelligence out there that would be attempting to gain information on what it was he was taking pictures of, they
Okay.
came up with the story that no, you're actually filming UFOs, because it was better than letting him know that he was filming black projects. So, and that's
It
the
was
story,
creepy when
obviously.
he said that he was my friend. Like he literally said that to you. He's like, he was
Yeah,
my friend.
because
And I'm like,
apparently they
how did you
became
do that to your
friends.
friend?
Apparently they became friends later down the line. So they became friends after, the whole disinformation thing was closed, because at some point they stopped. At some point they just closed the case and they left the guy alone. But he was already on this path of I've been recording UFOs this whole time, and really got deep into it. And then, you could say that theoretically that had something to do with how it went, but it wasn't directly related. So a lot of people, when they talk about it or they put the blame on Doty, they treat it as if he had direct influence on what happened to the gentleman at the end. And I think that's kind of unfair to just have a blanket approach on that. Kind of just look at it, and I mean, you may feel one way or the other at the end of the day. I mean, whatever side you fall on, but that's one of the reasons why we didn't really, we danced around that during the show, because technically, if we're interviewing Rick Doty, yeah, that's part of his experience, but it isn't directly, what happened wasn't directly tied to him, in like he did this, so this happened. So we had some discussions at Space Out Radio, and decided not to ask the particular question, but if he were to bring it up, then okay, it's fair game and we can go into it. So that's kind of what happened.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry, Rob. When you say Rick Doty, you're talking about Richard Doty, right? Like, just to
Yeah.
make sure.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, yeah, dude.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of people. Like, when I joined a year ago, like, it's been literally a year ago since I joined, like, all of you, and they have just missed countlessly. And I go, I've seen his cases, I've seen some of his interviews, and I go, why? And then the one thing that I like is that, like, SOR was willing to bring people that have different opinions. And then,
Right.
and that's what it was about last night. When all of you six got together last night, I go, that's it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, you guys are phenomenal, because no one's throwing punches, no one's throwing insults. It's a discussion, and it's And it's
Different point of views and different perspectives. Yeah.
and you guys are respectful
And
of each other.
everybody's like in a different area. Like some people who have been like doing it for. I tend to be like, okay, but you know what I mean, because it's doing it so long. But then we need other people, like all levels of it. So you have that compassion and understanding, and then you can grow. Like I've grown with so many people. It's just like that bond is always there.
Yeah, and to me, people like I've gotten kicked out of other chat rooms and like podcasts because I voiced my opinion against David Grush, and I said nope, I don't believe him.
And you got penalized for it.
That's wild.
Yeah. I said I don't believe him. I think he's. Who was the other woman in the panel last night? Sorry, it was
Lauren.
Someone said it, and she said it perfectly. And she said, he is just a second hand. He didn't see anything. And then he's up here, and I'm like, I know this is different from the Bob Lazar incident because I don't believe this guy. I will never believe this guy. Never.
We shouldn't believe the government. Like in anything Doty, he's got. Okay, we need to look and try and get that. I don't know if anybody's good with the FOIA, but you heard the terminology. They're not using UFOs, which I knew. There is, so I've got this. So I'm going to put together like a little document because then you're going to find the truth. We call them ETVs, but he has another name for it.
No, Nicole.
So start there.
Oh no, because I said the same thing a year ago to everyone, and I said if we let the government take control of this and not the people, you're going to be deceived.
We believe in disclosure, which is forced disclosure. So if you can force them into a corner before they have a chance to do it, we can get control of it.
Yeah,
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
And that's where like
I cheered. I was so cheering. I was like, yes, finally.
We are the disclosure. We are going to find a step to. And I have some ideas. I really do. I have some really good ideas, and I have some really good documents. I tried to do it, and I guess the spooks came out. Like
you guys are the driving force. Like you, Mr. Robin Gee, you, and like everyone who actually pushes against the narrative. Like allowing the government to take control of this is just allowing them to control our minds. And I go, no, we
will be a whole thing all over again.
Yeah, it's everything, and that's what I said to people. I said, look at when Roswell happened, when the first UFO showed up, like they took over, and then they were like, oh no, well they're just weather balloons, and like we're sending them up into the air, we're testing out the Manhattan Project and everything, and then you get Bob Lazar, and then they're like, oh no, well, and then everything that Bob Lazar said came to fruition, except for the fact that we don't have the sports model.
Right.
But I'm glad you brought that up, Juan, because tomorrow the producer that's coming on, Luigi Venditelli, is going to show us lifelike footage from their new movie, their Bob Lazar movie that Bob worked with him on very closely. We're gonna see what the sports model actually looked like in real life, inside and outside.
Don't get me started on Jeremy Corbell.
That's what's coming tomorrow. It's not Corbell though. It's not Corbell.
No,
Corbell. I don't. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. Right?
Do you know that Corbell? Do you want to know the story that I told yesterday? And I said that I was harassed beyond harassed on Twitter. It was when what's his name from the Black Vault, he had documentation, and Jeremy Corbell tried to say that Bob Lazar was raided for whatever reason, but the truth came out when like the local police or whatever, and I just happened to be there when he found him and knew the information. And then it indicated that there were some lies. Now, whether they were the government's lies. So all I wrote was Lazar lies. And I had swarms. Jeremy Corbell to this day will not talk to me because I said Lazar lies. Well, you know what I should have said?
Here-
Your
You went over there
Here's
and
what I'll
bashed
say. Here's what I'll say about that. Truthfully, here's the thing that always bugged me, and I said this the other day. So, okay, now Corbell did bring out videos. I appreciate him for
Yeah,
that. I'm gonna
100%.
always give him that. But
I'll give you that
here's
too.
the thing. Here's the thing that kind of just bugs me a little bit, and maybe I'm overlooking it. Maybe you can tell me if I am or not. But I think it's off-putting when you see Mr. Corbell, and I would still love to interview Corbell if you're out there. Don't take any offense by what I'm about to say. It's just true.
He won't come on
So,
with me.
so
I'll stay
if
off.
there's
think
any
it was
time
better
you
to
see
get
Jeremy
left.
Corbell in an interview and he's being or on News Nation on anywhere, he always talks about how I brought forth the evidence. I am friends with
You're right.
with David
know
Grush.
back
Me
into
and my partner George Knapp were the first to X Y. It's always me, I.
Yeah.
And
He-
here's the thing. Here's the
Arm
thing.
candy.
That's a great. Here's the thing that just okay. So now answer this. So with that being said,
Yeah.
you would think with all those I's, me, Bob Lazar, the whole when it was only Bob Lazar, and he used to always talk about I help Bob do this, I help Bob do that. So why is it that Bob goes to someone totally different to do the film for one, and then two? We still haven't seen, even though Corbell, because we saw David Grush come out with Ross Coulthard in the News Nation interview, and but Jeremy Corbell is always quick to point out that George Knapp and I had him first, and we brought him to, to the News Nation, and so it just. The question I have is why hasn't Grush done an interview with Weaponized yet? Why is it that he's done interviews in all these other
and you know what?
places, but he hasn't done a Weaponized interview yet? It just
I have to step in this one because I go. You don't think it's already loaded? I mean, they were literally behind him during the congressional hearing. You saw George Knapp, you saw Jeremy Corbell there, like all tapered out, like they were all in their suits and stuff, and like you had, the people that intercepted the UFOs and everything, and you had David Grush there, and I go, this is gonna lead to another one, like another Bob Lazar thing, like a documentary like they did. I actually really did appreciate the Bob Lazar documentary because it seemed genuine. It seemed like people really cared, like a James Fox, moment of contact. That's like literally to this day, that's how I'm convinced. James Fox moment of contact has literally floored me, and nothing will change my mind anymore because of the aerial, the Zimbabwe experience that the kids had, and so with Jeremy Corbell, like at this point, it's just like you're coming off as someone who just wants to make money, and has he made another documentary with Bob Lazar? No, because he got what he wanted, and then he moves forward.
the flip side to that though is my thing is I'm feeling like Bob Lazar just isn't giving him the option to do, because I'm sure Corbell would do a second Bob Lazar documentary, no doubt. But it just appears that maybe he's staying away from him, and then Grush the same way, because you would think it would be pretty easy to do a Weaponized interview.
Boom.
He's trying to say that
you
setting
both
it straight.
now.
They're all
Exactly. Because Bob Lazar doesn't want to make money off of this. He gave all the money that he made out of this documentary away.
He's a
so I don't know.
Magneticus is showing something really fantastic. You want to describe what this is, Magneticus? Fill us in. It's gonna be mind blowing. It's a phonograph.
It is a phonograph.
After you're done,
Okay,
please
let's go.
don't forget to let me know that I have to show you something.
Let's go, Magneticus.
Just so you know, this This is who we're gonna be listening to.
Oh,
Sound of Food.
Oh, this is.
I don't know if it's gonna
Dude,
copyright strike us though.
100%. I thought this was.
Hold on, Rob. I'll show you how to get past.
I thought we
I'll
were
show you
looking
how to
at
get
it.
past that copyright problem right here.
Okay, we're gonna
Hold
find
on.
out then.
Go ahead.
If the
You
stream
won't
goes
get
off air, guys, we'll be right back as soon as
Hey,
the record
hey,
stops.
trust me on one thing here, right?
This dude is so smart.
Because Karen is looking for this played at 33 and 1/3 RPM.
Mm.
So if I play it, we're gonna play it backwards.
Let's
So
go.
Karen have a hard time understanding it.
That is so crazy.
So what is the needle? What's
Can you hear it?
yes, and what is standing in for the
Playing it back.
needle?
He's playing it. Is there a disc on there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, needle
playing
point right there. That's what you're
Yeah.
listening to.
Yeah, you can hear the music.
Oops, almost did it the back way. Almost dug a big old gouge in there.
It's going backwards.
Ah! My headphone wire. Ah! Technical difficulties.
Karen.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I love the Karen. Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. Stupid headphone jack.
I love the Karen reference. I love all you guys on.
Okay.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm not drunk, by the way. This is exactly how I sound every day.
Yeah, no, we know the difference, Juan. Come on,
Yeah,
buddy.
don't like. I got someone who said that. Oh, I'm like, no, I'm not. Chill. I'm not. But yeah, no, he's playing it backwards.
Now I'm just playing really fast.
Now, yeah.
The mad scientist known as Magneticus.
Can you name the tune?
It's hard to tell because it's so
Yeah,
peachy.
it's hard to tell. Can't hear it to be able to
Is that any better?
yeah.
That's all I hear.
It's familiar, but yeah.
You can,
Flowers on the wall. Flowers on the wall.
People over here.
Dude,
Flowers
yeah,
on the wall.
That's
all you-
Magneticus, the mad
You know,
scientist.
I made a video of that and it got like over 1,000 views in like 3 days.
I bet.
I couldn't tell you why.
Look, that's why. Look. What are those
So-
magnets around the edge? What are those?
that's what I said. I thought those were dominoes.
Domino. Oh my goodness. So
100%.
I remember I told you, I think I email you or text you or something. I said, you take that needle and you stick it right through the tip and then you fold this flap over. So the eye of the needle is like right there.
Okay, love it.
And then when you put the needle on the record, the front pocket, I always call that the front pocket because these are the two back pockets.
Mhm.
And these are the arms. So and then when you make the cone, the horn, boom, boom, boom. So if I didn't knock the quarters out of that one, I could play. Let's see, we could put that.
Dude, this
Trying to
kid-
get to hang in here somewhere.
Magneticus is a genius, y'all.
He's really a genius. Like,
All right.
if I were like, hey, he's really a genius.
Let's see if I can do this again.
I just flirt with girls. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I think I got a short needle. in there.
He's from Twitter.
This needle don't work too well. So
Area 51.
where's it at?
Heard that.
Yeah.
I hope no one heard that.
Are you on Twitter? Is that Area 51 for
No.
Twitter? Or no.
Yeah, no, I'm not
I
on
don't
Twitter.
use Twitter.
There's
I'm on. I'm only on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
okay.
I don't
There's
use.
still,
Twitter.
I just had to ask as a Twitter. I'm on.
I was just like, oh, this guy's a Jews. I just hit on girls, and I'm like, nah, that's
Twitter don't like me. Neither does Facebook.
No,
Yeah, find me
no,
on everybody. Find me on Facebook. I have to get rid of some.
Just when
I
you think you
we're
couldn't
friends.
possibly
Holy
be any
cricky.
dumber,
Susan, we're friends.
you go and do something like this
Just-
and totally redeem yourself.
Oh,
Like,
Dumb and Dumber.
You totally
What in the world is
redeemed
that?
yourself.
That's
That was Dumb
hilarious.
and Dumber when he's like, he sold.
what in the world was that?
Yeah, that was Dumb and Dumber. That was Harry.
Okay.
It's like just when I
Telling
thought
Lloyd,
you couldn't
like,
be
oh,
any
you know.
dumber, you
Don't
do
you hate
something
that
like
when you use a
this.
spoon that's too big for the
Yep.
hole?
Totally redeem yourself.
Redeem yourself. Yeah, that is my favorite comedy. It'll never live up to anything else. Like, that is my favorite comedy. Dumb and Dumber. Whew.
Is that the one where they showed the voter fraud in Washington?
They're not in Washington.
I don't think so. Not that
One of those. I'm trying to remember which movie it was. One of them they showed how Governor Gregoire was like rigging the elections. Oh, it's so hilarious.
I mean,
Who was
this
in it?
movie came out. When this movie came out in like 94?
It was with the one guy, the one comedian guy,
Hey! Jim Carrey?
the big guy, the one that died. Chris Farley,
Chris Farley?
I think.
Oh, you're talking about...
yeah, with David
Was
Spade.
it? I thought it was Dumb and Dumber, but maybe I was wrong.
No, yeah.
Talking about Tommy Boy.
Oh, I know
Tommy
what you're
Boy.
talking about.
Tommy
But
Boy.
they were covered the voter fraud in
Yes.
Washington.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I've been trying to point it out to people. I've been trying to point it out for people for years. It's like, do these people realize that your mail-in votes are verified by a computer that you wrote your signature into when you got your driver's license? You realize Microsoft Mary can sign your autograph that you gave at the Department of Licensing on any kind of document. And another computer will think that you signed that document.
Hey, Brown Dwarf.
Was it Black Sheep?
I'm not showing you my
I think it was
handsome
Black
face.
Sheep.
It was the Black Sheep.
I think it is Black
Sheep.
Chris
Yeah.
Farley.
Okay. Yep.
Got to go back and watch that one again. It's been a
No,
minute,
no,
man.
you-
'Cause
who-
R.I.P. Chris Farley, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, that was about Christine Gregoire fudging the elections. That's why we can't get rid of the Democrats, because they got like Bill Gates in their back pocket. You know, so
Hey, man.
trust me, Inslee ain't gonna go nowhere until he dies.
Dude,
Or
that's
the
crazy.
people like take out the National Guard surrounding him. One of the two.
Here's what I say.
I literally
Get rid of all the politicians. Get rid of them all, because all of them are no good. None of them have our best interest.
All
at
they
heart.
care about is your tax money. That's all they care
it.
about.
That's
I don't
it.
know.
How much they can tax you for.
That's
I
it.
don't
Instead of
know.
doing their jobs out there and pushing this issue forward, which is right there in their lap, they're worried about budgets and just dumb stuff, man. I'm gonna tell you what it is. These guys put on costumes, which are suits, and just go play. This is like a game for them, and it isn't anything that I think is beneficial to us at the end of the day. That's why I don't pay any attention to politics. I really don't. I mean, obviously, it
I
runs
pay
the
more attention
country.
to the tax numbers. I pay attention to the tax
Well,
numbers.
and that's only because they take it from us before we even see it. They take it from us before it's tangible in our hands.
That's why I used to use the dollar store as an example, because you could buy 10 items at one time and you'd pay like $10.93 after tax, because the tax rate at that time was 9.3%. So 10 items after tax was $10.93. But if you bought those items one at a time, 10 times, went into the store and bought one item, you'd pay $11. So where'd that 7 cents go? You know what I mean? That's 7 cents in 10 transactions. So
The truth.
but now
That's
now
right.
that it's
They
a
can't
buck and a
handle it.
quarter, now that it's a buck and a quarter at the dollar store, you have to buy 8 items to get the same $10. You know what I mean?
That was funny.
Yeah, they
You
No,
can't
now
do
they're
it.
going to
They can't handle it.
$125, $3, and $5.
That was like, yeah, that was funny. But like everyone, because we live in the same state. I'm 100%.
Yeah, he's up north, so yeah, he's right north of me, so he understands what I'm talking about.
So, and it's funny because a lot of people think that I have this like liberal Republican, like it's split, but I'm in the middle. I just want people to get along. That's it.
No,
Like
it's between the tax collectors and the taxpayers. That's what it's all about. You got the tax collectors on one side, and you got the taxpayers on the other side.
But
And trust me, the tax collectors get paid a lot more than taxpayers. So
yeah, but
and where does our tax money go?
to the tax collectors,
No, I
you
mean
tax collectors like Bill Gates, Google,
past that,
Amazon.
It goes
Landlords.
to the
Bail us
military.
out
It goes to the
and
military
laundering it.
industrial complex.
military and pharmaceutical companies, bro.
It goes to black projects. It goes
Yep.
it goes to things
where all
that
the money goes,
we don't have any access
Tell
to
them,
or
Geek.
control over.
Tell them,
It
Rob.
goes
That's what bothers me about
that's
Trump, though, is he made that black budget black. Where we could see before who was getting what, like for funding, and now since the Space Force, and like you don't even hear of the Space Force or anything
Space
like that.
Force is like,
Look,
where do you
I
Sovereign-
need, we need all new people. All new people. I'm telling you, I ran at a city level for city council, and the nasty things that they did, they were going to nursing homes, and they'd be like, now getting them mail-in ballots. They knew when they were coming in. They'd be like, "Oh, if you you vote for so and so, there's Social Security, there's city council. They have nothing to do. They're making all these promises." So, they're helping them fill out the ballots. So that's, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I kept
Yeah.
up at the polls, but then they got all the nursing homes. I'm like, okay, so to win this, you have to go into the nursing home and you have to figure out and get all their little signatures for the ballots. When they're coming, because I'm telling you, it's the whole thing.
Just-
the whole
just wave your gold shiny watch in front of them and say 10, 9, 8. You know the routine.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
getting sleepy. They just need to wake up. I don't know what kind of trance they're in. Either that or they got to go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
They're on the
they're
Thorsian
in
shuffles.
Ireland.
What's going on?
I'll take the island with no amenities and build my own if they just stay away. Like I can't stand it at this point.
I like this conversation. I don't know why.
Yeah,
You're almost-
I like the way
when it comes to
they're on it.
politics.
Now you're like, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
I like the fact that you guys are honest. Like, literally, it's flirtatious.
Politics denied. Politics
Denied.
denied.
Yeah.
I
Denied.
hate.
Bring up.
So imagine a world without it. You know what I mean?
I
And
was just gonna tell
that's
people the truth.
what
That's
we
the only
need
reason I
to.
ran.
It's okay.
That's what we need to actually do. We need to we need to envision a world without it because there's really no reason to take it because it's not being used for anything that benefits us. If you think if you think the protection that we can't even be protected from ETs, so at the end of the day, we're not fully protected. So why keep taking the money?
We never have
why
been.
why not let it stay in our pockets, man? I mean, it's look, if you listen to last show when Susie B was up here on stage and we talked about the money part of this and it's ridiculous and I don't even want to rehash it technically, but you would be blown away if you realize what you're selling yourself for. You would be blown away that it doesn't even make sense that what you're doing. You would immediately be offended if you listen to the last show. Towards the end of the show, if you go to like the last hour of the show, that's when we really got into like what it really means to be in this machine, and it is sickening, dude. It really is. And that's why I don't pay any attention to politics. All that stuff is predetermined. It doesn't have any direct effect on you or me.
Puppet show.
They don't care about you or me at the end of the day. Or they go to this place, this one city, Washington, D.C., and they go over there and they just play games, dude. It's just one big game while we sit out here
they go and they
and
eat
we
dinner together at
suffer
night.
and struggle and have nothing while they're up there just spending our money on stupid stuff, on $1,000 staplers and just ridiculous stuff like that, and we're just sitting here not having anything, man.
Rob Key,
I'm
Nicole,
so
you guys brought the heat
ugh,
last night. I loved
man.
it.
Oh my
So
god.
thank you.
I would recommend,
You
if
guys
you
are
want to
doing
hear
it.
that conversation, please go back to the last call-in show that we did, the last hour at least. Listen to that, and we kind of went heavy on that. But yeah, let's get into some let's get
Spooky.
into yeah, it's Halloween. We got 3 days. Oh,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah. Hey,
as
by the
far
way,
as I
thank
know,
you guys. Thank you, by the way, Rob. You got, dude. You're literally a goat.
appreciate you, Juan. I appreciate you,
You
man.
too, Nicole. Like, you're a goat. Like, I follow both of you guys on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm like, oh man, like I love these people. Like, you guys bring the heat in
Aw.
sleep. So thank you, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Appreciate
No,
you.
really, I like
Appreciate
appreciate
I
that.
appreciate
Yeah.
it a lot. And I want people to come up. I don't want to be the first person to tell my story. Like, come up. Like, more people need to come up.
Yeah,
Do we
no,
need to
and
come up
and
where
that here,
people
let's focus
follow?
on that for a minute. Yeah, let's focus on that for a second, because I agree with you, Juan. And I knew, and I couldn't. I said that at the beginning of the show. I said the guy in the back, he's gonna want people to come up here too, and he just proved my point right here, right now. And it's true. So we would love to have people come up. Deb from SAC has a great idea, spooky stories. We could run through a list of spooky stories. That
do it,
might
man.
actually be a great thing to do, Deb. Let's do that. And actually, I know Derek Galloway was pretty sad that Dave Scott wasn't going to be available for Tuesday's show. But who says I don't have something set up for Halloween, Derek? Who says I haven't
Oh,
already
man.
created something
Exactly.
special
Step up.
to
Step
show
up.
on Tuesday, on Halloween, to kind of make your day? Maybe I did. Maybe I got something up my sleeve. Maybe we'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, spooky story sounds really good, Derek from SAC. I could probably I don't have one right off the top of my head. Anybody got a real spooky story to get this thing started?
I
And
want someone to
please,
go before me because I got the Chewy story that I promised you. So I was like,
Like what kind
I
of
want
spooky story? Like
Just
like a time I was
anything.
investigating, or a time like
Either
you
or,
know what I mean?
anything. Yeah, just
Okay.
spooky. Just spooky.
So my grandparents, they built this house, and it was like nobody could build, like it was on all this limestone and everything, and it was close to like where the Indian burial ground is, and they don't really know if it was moved around or whatever. So I kind of grew up in a family like that would think that was a little bit normal. Anyway, my cousin and we went down, and behind the bar, that's where I talked about it yesterday, one of those wooden Ouija boards with the pamphlets and the glass and like the real deal. And my cousin and I got it out, and all the cabinets, not even joking, in the upstairs went open. I mean, my grandparents' kitchen was like lined in cabinets, and we're talking upper and lower. And then we went outside and we looked, and there was a guy behind the bar. So nobody's ever talked about the guy behind the bar. But it used to, the dog that lived there used to like do things. And I in that house, I'm telling you, like I remember laying there as a child, and I could feel someone holding my hand, or I could feel like there was always paranormal activity. Like we were eating dinner, and my dad would happen to be laying back there. All of a sudden, we hear shoes flying, and he's like, he was trying to throw the shoes through the entity. I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole new like level of crazy. But yeah, it was spooky.
That was spooky. And way to get it started. I'm finding some spooky music to be your backdrop.
okay, that's
as you
I
tell these
swear to God, I thought that
spooky
was coming from
stories.
the outside of my house.
So let's see. This one's kind of spooky. Let me see.
That's good. That's a good story.
I don't know why I hate that sound.
I know, man.
I
Because
know,
you said
I
that.
know.
I
It
hate
sounds
that
like
sound.
metal.
It's like,
No,
It sounds-
like metal.
I don't know. It sounds like a hurdy-gurdy or something, you know?
Okay, let me see.
I-
I got.
I mean, it's
this one,
cool,
too.
but
Is this scary too? This
Sorry,
is scary.
sorry.
This is scary.
Yeah, that scared the shit. Oh, sorry. The crap out of me.
This one I use on the social
Oh,
dig,
thank Nicole. That is.
but we'll use that. Okay,
God,
next scary
crazy.
story, next spooky story. Deb says she has one, so maybe she'll come up
Bring it
in a
up,
moment.
Deb.
Deb, I want to
Let's
see
go.
Deb.
Let's go. Bring
It
it
was
up.
a
Yeah.
dark, spooky
This is her
night.
story. Is that what she said?
What'd she say no?
The kids
No,
sat around the
Oh, I found a good wine glass the other day. Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Abductions,
There was a
assailants,
knock on the
and
door.
I don't mess
Can
with
she
them.
call? You can call in with the
No
Ouija
one
board
was
story,
there.
but it'd be better if you brought it on. I have a few of them, Deb. A few of
Use a
them.
really
That
spooky
wooden board
voice,
is
just like
unbelievable.
this when you tell your story.
Show mom.
Give some emotion.
I got a Ouija board story.
Go ahead,
We'd love it.
Magneticus.
We'd love to
Tell
You want to hear my
your
Ouija
story.
board story?
Sure,
So,
Magneticus.
Alrighty. So I went to this estate sale. Like every once in a while, I feel like an estate sale calls me, right? And so this estate sale was calling me, and I went to this estate sale. And I'm looking all over the place, and there was like tons of books and all sorts of old stuff. And I ended up getting a microscope and a box of rocks for like $5. But while I was buying the box of rocks, the lady in front of me had the Ouija board. And I was like, "You found the Ouija board." And she told me she'd call me up if it didn't work. And I was like, told her, I'm like, if it doesn't work, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Doesn't
could
work,
get
you
it
don't
to
want
work,
it.
but she couldn't.
Jesus.
That
So
could be,
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny that I was actually looking for something like a Ouija board, and it was like right there in that house somewhere, but I just missed it because somebody in front of me had already picked it up. So, yeah.
Something better.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, there's Deborah said if your mom calls in, she'll do it. So
Just
can we
take
get
a look at it
Joe
like
All
that,
right.
real quick.
Mom? Get
Huh?
him in.
This is my ghost hunting equipment. I'm wondering if you can help modify it a little bit. This is it came from Stephen Huff. It's one of the, I paid $1,500 for this. Like
Hey, Stephen
20
Hawkins?
years ago. No, Steve. What is it? Huff. Stephen Huff. He got so freaked out by these portals that he threw them like mostly like away, I guess, in Arizona in a dumpster. So
Okay.
the thing you can get full sentences, like full sentences back and forth. It takes a little bit to get it going, but then what I'll do is I'll take one of the IVP or whatever the IPT, and which feeds like backwards, and then they have like a reverb on here, and then a way to silence that part of it, and so then you can start to get like it's unbelievable, full sentences back and forth, continual
cool.
like conversation. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure with those because the ones I always got shown they were like apps.
No, this is like the real deal.
Oh, you're
If you see
showing
the
it.
portal, like there, yeah, this is the real deal. You can hook. I could hook like any.
I can barely see that.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Hey, Rob, can
Well-
you like make her all like the whole screen so I can get a better look?
There we go.
So, it's got, I'm sorry, there's like tape and stuff on it, but Seven, then there's like the reverb and the silencer. So then inside, oops, sorry. Inside,
So is it just like an antenna or something?
it's a little lunchbox, whatever, but they modified it. They put crystals and copper
Okay.
on the inside of it. So they're supposed to be like I said, I don't know anything about it, but these wires are here, and there used to be the Tesla coil, but it broke off. So I know that that's your specialty, but I'm wondering if we couldn't improve this in some way.
So does it like pick up radio waves or something, or how's it work?
It works like a speaker. It works like a speaker. I'll turn it on. The amp will turn on.
Oh, so it's
and
like a ghost radio then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I drive my wife nuts with leaving the AM radio on all the time.
Yes. Yes. So you don't
She's
have.
like-
You can filter
she-
that
she's
out.
like-
through this.
She's like, why does it like, and it was like literally like every half hour, it just gets loud, you know, all of a sudden you hear like this like transmission going on, but you can't understand anything being said.
It
and,
filters it all out.
Yeah,
I have
okay.
some I like audio on my phone. I can import. So
Yeah, I've made
like,
some
I'm
funky
just-
antennas in my day too, just to like because it picks up like weird.
If you look
'Cause-
into it and you think that we can modify this somehow, because he's not even selling them anymore. Like, could we like soup this up, you know? To like, I'm not
Well, you want to
joking.
put some knock
Right,
in
right?
Have you seen the wine glasses I coil? Have you seen those wine glasses I coil?
No.
No.
Can I ship this to you and then you like upgrade it and like, I mean, this is my baby right here. Like ghost hunting wine.
That's what I did to
If you click on my channel, you go click on my channel and go to like oldest, and you should see me with like a wine glass, and then I have I think it's called wine glass spark gaps or something like that.
The more you say wine glass, the more I look like an alcoholic.
Hey, that's Alien Bob or whatever.
I'm just
Hey,
Alien Bob in the background.
Dude, is there anyone else that wants to come on? Bring them on. I don't want to tell my true story until like people are like they want to tell their stories.
All right, I'm going to tell a story. On a
Okay,
moonless Halloween night, a dense fog crept over the small, forgotten town of Willowbrook Hollow. Nestled in the heart of the woods, the town was known for its eerie stillness and whispered tales of restless spirits. At the edge of the town stood an old, decrepit mansion, the Blackwood Estate. Its windows were shattered, and ivy clung to the rotting walls. Locals spoke of strange lights flickering in its upper windows and ghostly walls that echoed through the trees. A group of adventurous teenagers decided to test their courage. Sarah, Jake, and Emma, armed with flashlights and trembling with excitement, approached the estate's iron gates. As they stepped onto the overgrown path, a chill ran down their spine. The air grew colder with each step, and the shadows seemed to shift and dance. The front door groaned open, revealing a grand foyer shrouded in cobwebs. Portraits of long-forgotten faces stared down. Their eyes seemingly followed the intruders. They ventured deeper into the mansion, their hearts pounding in rhythm with the creaking floorboards. Suddenly, a distant piano melody filled the air, its haunting notes echoing through the halls. The teens exchanged terrified glances. The source of the music led them to a dimly lit chamber. There they found an old grand piano, its keys moving on their own accord. The room seemed to pulse with a spectral energy, as if a long-lost soul yearned for release. As the last note hung in the air, a shadowy figure materialized in the corner. It was a woman, her gown tattered and her face obscured. She extended a frail hand, beckoning them closer. Her voice, a mournful whisper, spoke of a tragic love story and a promise left unfulfilled. Sarah, Jake, and Emma listened in rapt attention, their fear momentarily replaced by empathy for the lost spirit. They vowed to help her find peace, to fulfill the promise that had bound her to this earthly realm. With their pledge, the room grew brighter, and the figure began to fade. She smiled, a look of gratitude in her eyes before vanishing entirely. The mansion seemed to sigh in relief, as if a weight had been lifted. As the trio left the Blackwood Estate, the fog began to lift, revealing the stars above. Willowbrook Hollow felt different, the air lighter, as if the town itself had been released from its haunted past. From that night on, the legend of the Blackwood Estate changed. It was no longer a place of fear, but a testament to the power of compassion and the possibility of finding peace even in the afterlife. The story of Sarah, Jake, and Emma would be told for generations, a reminder that on Halloween night, even the darkest places can find redemption.
Dang, dude, 100, Jesus.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
God.
Let's go. Stories. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get them up. Let's go. Let's get them up. Let's get who got stories. Let's go. Let's get them up.
Dude. Put the basketball snares on. Holy cow, that was awesome.
Can you dig it?
Yes.
Can you dig it?
Oh my goodness, that was so good. That was so good, dude.
Let's get them stories. Oh, try calling, but got the recording dead from
I was
Saturday.
so like, I was closing my eyes, and I'm in the dark, by the way. I don't have like
Oh
So it's
man,
like,
I'm gonna bring up some more, man. Deb from SAC
Deb,
got
you
one. She
hop
tried
on
to call.
here.
fire. That was fire, dude.
So you come on
100%.
live.
That you brought the heat on that one, man. That was good. The way that you
That was
delivered.
good. That was good.
Somebody asked for more cowbell, so I had cowbell.
Hey, I can't find
Got
it.
a
Real
white
quick,
guy
man, I can't find your page.
What do you
Alright,
mean you
Deb
can't
from
find my
SAC.
page?
I cannot find
You
your
guys made
page.
me.
Can you drop a link?
Yeah, I think so. If I disconnect again, you know why. But I'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
We're gonna
Deb, give
scoop
that
up
another
this-
shot.
We're gonna scoop up
Yeah,
this
you're still
video.
there. Okay,
So
you're still
it's-
there.
I'm
I
looking at
wanna,
my phone right now, Deb.
is there anyone else that's trying to like get
Okay.
in? I
Yeah,
want to
we
let
got a
them
different
first
spooky
before I do
sound option, Bomber.
Chewy story.
Magnetic
Chewy
is
story's a little long.
said the
So-
same thing. No, we don't
Chewy
have
story's
very
a little
many
long.
because
I'm-
this isn't normally a spooky channel.
But it's Halloween.
It's
Where's
Halloween.
that?
Let's do it.
Slow charge.
Hey, you guys are
one
bringing
back.
the heat. I swear to God, Nicole and Rob. Jesus, thank you.
Man, you know it's all
guys-
Thanks
me.
us. What do you? We're thanking
Yesterday, you
you.
guys have been literally bringing the heat and not the sleep. And I go, team no sleep. Let's go. So
Deb, the line
Yeah.
is open.
Look
in the
looks like
studio
you're
chat.
calling. Hold on.
that
Nicole.
was so good.
Yeah.
That was
Call
so
from-
good. I love
Zero
that.
Somebody's
G.
calling.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Press
Oh,
one.
me?
Debster, you are on live.
You're on the
Oh, I
air.
got it.
Hi, you guys.
How are
Hello.
you, Deb?
Oh, hey.
It's the Debster. Debster, we got spooky music playing in the background. So if you got something,
Dun,
let's
dun,
roll with it. I just did my thing. Let's go.
dun, 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 dun.
Okay, so I'm going to go through this. I'm going to roll through this really quick just so you guys know. The only voice I can really hear on my phone is Rob. I can kind of hear you guys in the background, so I'm sorry if I don't respond to your comments. I have a
Oh,
Ouija
good to
board
know.
story that I want to share. What? See, you want me to just walk through it real quick here? That's probably the best way to do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So, when I was about 12 years old, growing up in South San Jose, we had some new neighbors that moved down the street. It was a single mom and her 2 daughters, and they didn't seem to have a lot of friends. I never saw anyone, out in their yard or playing or anything. No one was ever around them. And both the girls had really long, jet black hair, and so did the mother. They all kind of looked alike, and they all kind of dressed alike, too, which I thought was peculiar. And I forget, the one girl's name was Kathy, the oldest one. And so I went up one day and just started talking to her, and I'm like, oh, I live just down the street here. And we got on pretty well, and she said, well, why don't you come on in and visit for a little bit? I said, well, I got to check in. Bear in mind, I was only 12 years old. I said, let me go check in with my mom and let her know where I'm at, and I'll be back in a little bit. So I did, and I came back, and she brought me into the house and introduced me to her little sister and her mom. And they all seemed, friendly enough, nice enough. And she said, hey, well, we were just about to do a Ouija session. Would you like to join us? I had no clue what a Ouija board was. I said, sure. So they had everything all set up with crystals and candles and the whole thing. And the mother didn't join us, but me and the 2 girls, were using the Ouija board. And we had our fingers on it. And I didn't quite know what to make of it. I wasn't afraid of it or anything. So they asked a question. They asked a question. I can't remember what the question was offhand, but the planchette had been moving pretty well, and all of a sudden it just stopped. And all of a sudden it just literally flew off the board, and it hit the wall so hard it put a hole in the wall. I swear to God, as God is my witness. It put a freaking hole in the wall in their living room, okay? And we were all just like, oh my God. And I said, you guys, I gotta go. And I was freaked out. They're like, no, don't leave. I go, no, I'm gonna go. And I felt sick to my stomach. I mean, I was scared. I thought I was gonna throw up. Got out of the house, ran home, told my mom. Later on, my sister came home, and I told her what happened. And my sister, Linda, she's like, Debbie, She goes, you went down to the witch house. I go, what do you mean the witch house? She goes, haven't you noticed no one's ever down there? I go, yeah, that's why I decided to go be friendly. She said, that house, all three of those women are witches. And they have all kinds of spells and stuff. That's the rumor. And that's why they don't have any friends and no one ever goes there. And that's probably, you know, why the Ouija board maybe didn't like you being there because, you know, I was a church girl, right? And I went into the witch house. And so, you know, that was the thought anyway. And since then, I swear to you, it scared me so bad. I have never, I mean, I didn't hold it against them, but I have never used a Ouija board since, ever. I just have no desire to. And I think that it's a matter of your own intentions and what you bring to it, what you bring to the Ouija board that brings out results. But by the same token, you know, in church I was taught, well, if you open the door to the devil, he'll be happy to walk in. And that thought has always stuck with me. And after that experience, it was so negative and fearful that I've never done it again. And that's my Ouija board story.
It sounds like today's
That's
reality.
creepy.
Yeah,
Creepy.
that is. That's awesome. So you had a connection like with them. Yeah. Was it one of the wooden ones?
I don't know. It was like the kind that you buy in the store, you know, the regular ones. It wasn't homemade or anything.
The other
like
ones
the
you bought
Hasbro.
from the store too, they were just higher quality. And the older, I would love to get maybe not, but I mean,
Yeah, you better be careful what you ask for.
I know I
Pretty
stopped.
much.
I stopped.
Especially with the Ouija board.
Yeah, I don't play with those
Yeah.
things.
I
mean,
have
Watch
one.
Watch her go outside tomorrow, and there's a Ouija board sitting on her front porch where the doormat
I've
is.
heard a lot of weird stories about people with Ouija board experiences, and they put it
know,
away, then they go back to the basement, and then it's out again, and it keeps reappearing. And I watch Ouija board movies, and those freak me out
Yeah.
too. So I'm not going to touch one, but I'm going to hang up so I can go back and chat and listen to you guys. Okay?
Thank you for coming, Deb.
Okay.
Thanks for the story.
I'm done.
Okay.
It's nice
I'm gonna
to hear
come
your
back in.
voice.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Debster called in. The line is open, 856-843-3444. If you're in the chat or if you're a lurker even, just call the number. We're picking up. Make sure that I do answer the phone. Deb dropped the bomb on us there. Tim Altman says, I burned my Ouija board and it came back under my couch. Yeah, that's what I don't want to see. Now, Joe Monk did say, and I want to find out what he means by this. So Joe Monk says, Rob needs to read that story on air. And then he says, Rob, you have permission to read my story on air. Where is your story, Joe Monk? I'll read it right now. Where is your story? Tell me where I can find your story, and I'm reading it right now. Yeah, Maggie M10 made a Ouija board out of paper. Never had a real one. Yeah, I don't think you want a real one. You're back in the mix,
Yeah,
Juan.
I
don't know
can't
what
hear
happened.
any of you.
You can't hear us, Juan?
I hear everybody.
Did you see my pamphlet that I have?
Yeah, we hear you, Juan. If you
Yeah.
like,
Okay,
we can
so-
hear you.
Hey, Nicole, did you see the link in the
Let
chat?
me.
The studio chat?
This is
Did I
weird.
what?
I can't.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
Sorry.
I found you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I even commented on your thing. I was able to get to it. Thank you.
Joe Monk, where's your story, Joe
Oh,
Monk?
yeah,
I'll
sure
read
enough,
it
you
right
did.
now.
Yeah, and totally. I really have no videos on my. I think I still have subscribers, but I had
Once
to
upon a
control
spooky
that.
night,
I got like 500
Joe
videos.
Monk walked through a field of scary stuff. My story is in the chat. Scroll back. All right, let me see. How far back, Joe Monk? Let me see. Okay. I see you. Joe Monk.
Hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh, so it's in pieces. Okay, I
Here we go.
got you. All right,
Can you guys hear me?
Joe
Yeah.
Monk.
Can you
Here's
guys hear
Joe
me?
Monk's story real quick. Joe Monk, back in the 90s, I was working on a geothermal rig in Northern California on the coast. I worked 12-hour shifts, noon to midnight. I would get off work and drive to the motel, about a 20-minute drive. One night, I left work in a 76 Firebird. I'm on an extremely desolate part of the road along a ridge line, and I could see for miles. Suddenly, the car shuts down, and I pull to the side of the road. I got out, checked my battery connections. They looked good, but I cleaned them off and reconnected them. Smoked a cigarette and started the car up. I was on the side of the road 10 minutes max. I got back on the road and pulled up in front of the motel. When I got on my car, I looked to the east and I noticed that I could see the tops of the trees because the sky was getting light. I figured the moon was coming up. I walked into my room and looked at the clock. It said 6:30 a.m. I had lost about 5 hours. Whoa. Is that an abduction? It sounds like it. That's heavy, man.
I've had
That's
missing
heavy.
time too.
Yeah,
Never
that's
5 hours.
Wow.
Yikes.
I saw the clock in the microwave and something else, and they started blinking, and then it went from like 4 to 5:40 a.m. All of them,
Wow.
and I was like, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Do you remember anything? It was Joe who. That's his story.
Joe Monk.
Joe Monk.
Oh, Joe, I'd love to know. Have you had any experiences since? Because that's some crazy.
Whoa.
5 hours, yeah. Have you encountered ET or any sort of crafts?
That's a good story. That's a good answer. I mean, question. Shit.
I'm curious. I really am.
Geothermal.
And Deb, you brought the heat, by the way. Thank you for the Ouija story. I couldn't say thank you because my internet went whack. But Joe, yes. Answer.
You got Joe? Joe, I want to know if you've had
I
any
know.
other paranormal experiences or you like anything else happen? You gauge craft or anything? I don't know. He might be gone, huh?
No, he can't be gone. He was messaged just like a minute ago, so he's listening.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a slow typer.
He's like, yeah,
He might
4
be a
minutes
hunting
ago.
pecker like me.
I've been in a, yeah, sometimes I'll run and grab something real quick.
There's only 2 people here in Washington. Apparently. No, I'm glad that they came up.
So, as experiencers, before the story gets started.
We got
Ready?
active.
Oh, Joe.
One of those things that make you go hum. Okay.
So, have you had more experiences with craft, ET? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he's got baby shark.
Oh, dude,
Monk has baby
oh,
shark, huh?
get on the phone.
Yeah, hop on. Joe, I know I can feel it. So
Get on the phone.
One of my devices would kill batteries with the quickness. But I took that apart and didn't tell anybody how to do it.
Fine, but get on the phone,
Coming
bro.
on, Joe?
Get on the phone. Like everyone,
Right.
like should that.
Yeah.
We're telling spooky stories. We're in.
How about paranormal?
Think about it like a cyber.
He said he has tons of stories. So this is like, yeah.
Oh, do you
So I'm
guys
guessing-
remember those old streamer videos where they like all lull you in with a nice happy little song or whatever, and then all of a sudden they put like the face from Poltergeist on there
Yeah.
screaming? God, I used to hate those.
Yeah.
Time I seen one of
Jump
those?
scares, yeah.
The first time I seen one of those, it was the middle of the night. I thought my computer was possessed, and I wouldn't touch that thing for like a day.
That's funny. Tim Mothman, by the way, I'm calling you out because the only job you have to do is go to literally Logan Paul's
Hell.
next door and get that videotape of that UFO that James Fox claims he has.
I
And
have
then-
one, and I wish we would clean it up. It's of a UFO
Okay. Got
eating
it.
us at our game,
I got
came down to
pictures,
the
I got
ground.
pictures, but that
Swerve
doesn't
and shut off.
Go.
I want to ask Joe a question with the delay. Did the camera like have like funny lines on it or anything, like on the screen?
You're asking Joe.
I know I'm asking Joe, but if there's like a 6-7 second delay in the time between when I say it you guys
Oh,
hear it and when he hears it. So
It sounds like
yeah,
you're
he's getting the delay.
right now.
Say that in the
So-
UFO.
I'm sure he'll respond here in a minute. He'll respond here in a minute.
Seen so many times in this day and age.
Yeah,
phones.
but Tim
I
Mothman,
don't
if you're
even care if you're in
listening,
your pajamas.
I want you to go next door to Logan Paul. I don't know. Just show your beard to him and be like, "Hey, we
Sounds
need that
funny.
UFO evidence." That you
A methane explosion.
yeah, or we're just gonna not
It's essentially
deliver
what Sovereign's
propane.
talking about. He has footage of an abductee blasting ass inside the UFO and exploding UFO.
That's funny. Hydrogen
That's exactly
sulfide.
the sovereign, yeah, that's
Hydrogen
Sovereign all
sulfide
day.
fire. Oh,
Joe
that'd be
Monk, I've
funny
got
to see.
Bigfoot, I've seen UFOs and lots of spooky poltergeists. Shit happens in my place. That's why I have a big ass dog.
Get him up.
Where are you located?
Tim,
Isn't he
Dogs
down
with
in Oregon?
Chihuahuas.
You can't tell me soon. Just.
Nobody's
What do I
ever
really-
in
Isn't Joe
Iowa.
Monk down in Oregon?
Okay.
I think he's down in Oregon.
Maggie
Who?
says it's really hard to hear when everyone talks at once. Guys, yeah,
Sorry.
okay, because we're all bleeding over.
Oh yeah, we're bleeding into each
Yeah,
other's
yeah,
volume.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Got a little
All right.
excited.
Let's
Got a little
move-
excited.
Okay, all right, so. Okay. All right. I
Pacific
thought we were
Northwest,
gonna get us. I
love you,
thought
love.
we were gonna take turns telling spooky stories, but
I have mine. Remember, I said I was gonna.
yeah,
do
you
two.
did. Okay, so we doing that one. What we
But
doing?
tell them. I want other people to. I want other people to come up. I don't want them to be shy. Bring them up. If anyone else is up to.
Ooh, yeah. Have you guys seen Twitter Spaces? And Rob, I did book something. I don't know exactly what date, but I was gonna try there too, because then you can bring people up too, and then you don't have to get on camera, which I think is kind of nice. Like if you're in your pajamas, just have your little screensaver. We just want to hear your voice.
Huh?
Yeah, I may look
okay.
into that.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Okay.
absolutely. I can tell
So-
you about my near-death experience
Go
that
for
ended
it.
up with
Go
a
for it.
dead man.
Yeah.
Okay. So when
Go.
I got to get the voice down. Okay. So when I was like 7 years old, my grandma was coming. We used to go on shopping trips because she owned a beauty salon and a hair salon. So we drove to Chicago and it used to be this 2 lanes and it was like super snowy, but we were going in. The guy who was driving worked in her salon. His name was Carl. The lady who sat in the front seat, her name was Eudora. Eudora has never driven a car before. Back seat was my grandmother and I. We were like sound asleep. It was super late by the time because we had to go to Cherryville Mall. We had to go all these places. So anyway, all of a sudden, we're like, everybody's sleeping in the car except for the driver. We hit a patch of ice and the car spun around 3 times. It woke
Ooh.
everybody up. Just keep in mind, it woke everybody up. The driver got out, he looked, was fine. All of a sudden, like 30 seconds later, his foot is just down on the accelerator. And I remember looking over and she had a digital like thing on her car. I was watching it go like 90. And we crossed that highway. We went right down into a cornfield and we're like blowing through. And I just remember thinking, I'm dead. Like it's like it slowed down. I didn't scream, I didn't yell, I didn't anything, but I had my blanket from when I was a child. So we had to get Carl out of the car, and this is before cell phones, so it was like in an unpopulated area, so I had to help drag the body out of her car. That was a little traumatizing. Then we had to go and we walked to the road to try to flag somebody down. But the way that it stopped, my grandmother reached over and turned the key off and the car stopped. We were like maybe like 20 feet, probably closer, like as a child, I think 20 feet, but to a tree where we were headed straight into that tree. And if she hadn't gone over and turned the key, because Eudora didn't know how to drive, like she's like, I don't know what to do. And who knew you turn off a key in your car would it slow down. But when it came right up, it was right up on that tree. So we got in her. He died instantly on the side of the road.
Jeez.
But if he hadn't spun that car 3 minutes earlier, we would have all been dead.
Oh my God! That you're sinking my heart in right now, Nicole,
Rest
because
in peace,
I've
rest in
had an
peace.
experience like that before too, but it happened like that, like instantly. But yours is more detail, and mine can just be like 1 second. But thank you for sharing that. Holy cow, that is insane.
Crazy.
Yes,
No,
it's
it's definitely crazy.
Yeah,
That
Bomber,
is
you're
crazy.
exactly right. She did say that.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Person passed away. Yeah.
Her grandfather?
Like, no, it wasn't my grandfather. His name was Carl. He cut hair. He worked for my grandmother. We were going into the beauty in Chicago. They always had like these big shows for, all the beauticians or whatever they go. But my grandma used to take me as a kid, like everywhere. It was her favorite. And so we were just always like hand in hand. But yeah, so we were driving back and totally asleep. Everybody's crashed out. And if he had not spun that car around 3 times with that ice, we would have been dead. Everyone slept right through it. But when that car stopped, that tree was not that far away, like a couple feet at best.
Mothman says he had a beeper once, and it said he was getting a call from 666 as he was driving down Route 666.
That's great.
In New Mexico.
Yeah, change the road.
Feel
Ooh,
great.
the chills. Wow.
Feel great.
Sovereign said he heard a story recently that Truckee, I know where Truckee is, Truckee, California, at state border, it's a lot of Sasquatch traffic. The CHP have seen them a lot there. I'd imagine. I don't know if I want to see one.
What do you think,
I know in Yelm.
Because you know that picture that I have from the cemetery? Like, don't moths come out of cocoons? You remember that one I showed you? It looked like it was in a cocoon.
Yeah.
So
Like
do
a
butterflies.
Most people that
I always wondered if that was.
Oh, moths.
How come we never hear about Butterfly Man? We always want to talk about Mantis Man and Mothman and Wereman. What about Butterfly Man?
Moths move
I've
more
never
erratic
seen them.
than butterflies.
Maggie M10, kind of
I'm
neat.
gonna
Look
say that
at
right now.
you.
they
Knowing your
they
California
move
geography.
radical. So I go,
Sounds
nope.
like some Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
No. Thank you for sharing that story, man.
Yeah, Bomber's
Brings
asking,
the
wait,
hairs
the
on my-
car wasn't far from the
Yes.
tree, so you
Yeah.
didn't hit the tree, but someone in the car died anyway? He's
Yeah.
asking, how did they pass?
Yeah, because it went in cardiac arrest,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he did. He got back in the car. He was fine, but they said 99% of his, he had blockage. 99% of his arteries were blocked. So he smoked these cigars, and it was like I knew his spot, and I would just go, and I just because I had a connection. I always saw spirits as a child. So, but they didn't start off like spirits. It started off as like auras, and then they shadows, and kind of like got more and more as I grew older. But I could to this day I can tell you what his cigar I smell like, and I'll instantly feel Carl like right there.
Whoa.
So it's
That is creepy.
So
That
he
is creepy.
in a way saved our lives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If he hadn't spun that car around, we would have all been dead. Because he was dying.
My hair stood up when he told that story because that's deep.
Yeah.
That's
And
deep.
you think a kid would be screaming? I was
Yeah.
not. I thought we were dead.
Crazy.
For sure.
Pretty bananas.
Well, that's mine. That's my childhood trauma.
We're telling creepy stories and we're telling real life shit.
Yeah. You can't even make this crap up.
Wrap it up. No, I'm just kidding.
Derek Galloway. Buddy,
Oh,
do you got a
Get him
story?
on here. Get him on. If he gets on here, I will tell the true story.
I told him I'm gonna call him. I ain't
Yeah,
waiting
call
for him
him.
to call in.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
will
call him.
call.
I'll call.
People
Yeah.
should not leave. I
Call
swear to
him,
God.
and
Do
hopefully
it.
Desiree answer.
My true
Derek
story.
got me over here, so he needs to come. He needs to
There
call.
you go, Nicole. Look, there you go. Derek Galloway, where are you?
Where are you, Derek? We're calling for Derek.
We're calling for Derek.
Yeah, just call his number.
Good old fashioned peer pressure. That's right, Maggie.
This is not even.
Let's
peer
just
pressure.
get it
This is
done, you know.
now.
Hop on that phone call.
Yeah, get her done, Derek. Get her done, buddy.
Yeah,
Get her
dude.
done, little buddy.
Alexa, what
there he
color is blue?
There he is. There he is. There he is.
Where?
Right there.
Oh,
Roll
there he
call
is.
Who is all in here
I'm
and
in
shooting.
We got.
Lurkies.
I don't
Hikers.
even know how you say his name because I will never be able to say his name.
Who?
Yeah.
We got Rob Gee and we got Nicole Weber, but I don't know how to say my
Magnet. Yeah, I did.
How do you?
You guys,
say it?
why do you guys all have trouble with Latin? Magneticus attractus. Like magnets attract. It's not hard.
How do you say it?
Call you Mag for short.
Just think of magnets attract.
I'm gonna call him
Magnets attract. Magnets attract.
Oh, magnetic.
Magnet
Yeah, you're right.
attract.
You're right.
Let me see about that, Derek. I'm gonna look into that right now, buddy.
I guarantee.
Oh, I
you
think I
can't say my
did
name.
see that video, Derek. I think it was totally fake, but we could probably watch it.
He'll Bill Galloway.
What video?
Bomber.
Two UFOs and X-16 fighter jets. To me, when I saw it, clearly looked like CGI, but
I'm
maybe
on
Derek
10K
knows something we
gold
don't know. And
You're not
we're
Donald
gonna take a
Trump.
look.
Maggie,
We'll look it
Maggie,
up
can
there.
you come up here, Maggie, and tell us one of your stories? I'm gonna call Maggie up.
Maggie's afraid to get
If
on
Derek
here with her.
Galloway doesn't want to do it, so Maggie.
No,
Their
actually,
numbers.
If you only have
Let's-
one
I'd
story,
like their
or does
phone
let's
number.
do this real quick. Let's do this. I actually have, and I'm gonna play these again on the after hours, but we have some new voicemails from some people.
Oh, cool.
So let me start off with this first caller. And actually, we're still, this one is still puzzling. So maybe with more people in here, we know who this is. Remember this one?
Hi, I'm calling for no other reason than to see if anyone can guess who
That's
I
Deborah.
am. Have a good night.
Yeah, Debbie.
That's Debbie. 100%.
Deb from SAC.
Yeah.
If you're still in here, is that your
Debbie.
voice?
100%. That's her.
I don't think it is, because I see the numbers
100%
coming
that's
from.
her.
Maybe
Oh, you
it's
see the
calling from
number?
another
Oh,
number.
Rob, I could call you from 2 different numbers.
Yeah,
A
you
home
could.
number. Okay.
I
Deb
could
from
call you
Either
SAC.
that
from a
or-
whole bunch of different
What about
numbers.
Susie?
And maybe that's the play. Maybe it's calling from a different number,
Susie B?
so she can confuse me.
No,
But-
Susie
I
B
could
has-
call you from so many different area codes, it's not even funny. I just go to church and I'll be like, anybody got an area code besides 206? Thanks.
Right, pretty much.
I mean, I could.
Nah,
sound
Maggie
like,
M10, we just still don't know. It's still a mystery. I was
You do
hoping
not talk like a
somebody
little
would know.
boy.
I mean, I can.
I will lose sleep over
Okay.
this.
All
Yeah,
right,
see,
so-
Susie
even
B,
Susie
me.
said no. Even Susie
He
said
said
no.
me. Susie
it
B
you,
said
Susie?
me. Was it Susie?
Was it Susie?
Hold on.
No way. Her voice
Hi,
is more deep.
Who
I'm
can it
calling
be
for no
now?
other reason than to see if
No,
anyone can guess who
I
I
said
am.
no. That's not
No,
that's not
I
what
had
we're
it.
doing with that.
Then it's dumb.
Okay, everybody's claiming it. Now it's Joe Monk's voice.
Yeah, it's Joe
Now
Mom.
everyone's claiming it.
Call
Okay,
the-
it's gonna
call
be
the
one of
number
those.
back.
It's gonna be.
All right, we'll leave that one on. We'll park and lot that one. So I think we all know who this is. So let's listen in and see what it's talking about. Is actually, I think there's a chain of messages from this person. So we're gonna listen to them consecutively.
Oh,
Here we
same
go.
person?
It was Jessica S.
Yeah, no. Jessica S has cats.
Hold on.
It's me, Neil, with a very barky Monty Woo poo. Right, where am I? I lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about a Ouija board experience I had.
That's Joe Monk.
I just finished high school, or senior school as we call it in the UK. So I was
That's Joe
16.
Monk.
Bomber.
We had a massive, summer holiday. We broke up in
Massive.
June until September, and About 2 weeks. in that
Joe
period, it
Monk
must have been August.
he threw the peace sign up.
We started doing a Ouija
All right,
board
come on.
every day for about 2 weeks. We didn't do it all day, probably like, a couple hours a day, but even still,
I
that was
can't.
long enough.
I guess this is funny. I don't
And
No, hold on. I'm gonna
guess
take
the
it back.
voice,
I'm gonna take it
you
back.
know,
I'm gonna take
like-
it back. This is not Joe Monk.
This is not Joe Monk. No, it's
This
not him.
is Neil.
You're right. You're right. Is that Derek? No, it's not Derek.
Hey, Rob, as you can tell, it's me, Neil.
It's Digger Dog.
Very
100%.
Monty
Digger Dog.
Right, where
Is it Digger Dog? It has to be Digger Dog.
No, I gotta mute you, Juan. Hold on.
Ouija board experience I had.
All background noise. I
is-
gotta mute out.
I just finished high school, or senior school as we call it in the UK. So I was 16.
Okay, can you start that over? All right, I'll do that,
we had
Bomber.
a-
Hold on. Because it's low.
Space that radio. Hey, Rob, as you can tell, it's me, Neil, with a very barky Monty Woo Poo. Right, where am I? I lost my train of thought, man. Oh, yeah. I was going to talk about a Ouija board experience I had. I just finished high school, or senior school as we call it in the UK. So I was 16, and we had a massive, summer holidays. We broke up in, June until September. And for about 2 weeks in that period, it must have been August, we started doing a Ouija board every day for about 2 weeks. We didn't do it all day, probably a couple hours a day, but even still, that was long enough. And at first, I didn't really believe it. I was skeptical. I didn't put my finger on the glass. I just watched what was happening. And then they said to try and prove that it wasn't anyone touching the glass. Everyone just had the tip of the finger on top of the glass. It was a flat bottom glass. And then they asked whoever they were communicating with to twist the glass around. And it did, and all the fingers got tangled up together. There's no way, because obviously you can push a glass. Anyone can push a glass and make it, like a spirit's doing it. But to twist it with the tip of your finger is virtually impossible. So then I started putting my finger on the glass, and at first it was the thing we were claiming to talk with, whatever it was. Claimed it was someone's gran out of the group of people we were with. I mean, we're all 16, 15, 14, 13, just youngsters. We didn't know any better. And then things progressed on as further we were going. We were doing it in the same place on a park bench. It was kind of like a tabletop bench that you'd see outside of a bar. And we started asking it to do more and more stuff. We'd lie down on the top of this little bank, this grassy bank, and we'd ask the board to push people. They were just lying there and push people. And everyone that did it was saying they could feel themselves being pushed down the hill. So I was like, nah, come on.
All right, part 2 of that message.
How many times have I told you to stop hanging up without saying goodbye? Come on. Where's the American hospitality? Come on, man. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't believe him about getting pushed down the hill, so I lay down, like a plank at the top of this hill, and they were asking the board, they said, push Neil. And I'm not joking, mate, I felt something push me, and I rolled down the hill. I was like, whoa. That made me think this is pretty serious, whatever we're dealing with. I didn't have a clue. But I didn't have a good feeling about it. And to cut a long story short, two other mates, they never played with a board, but one day they come cycling in on the bikes and they started making fun out of Lucifer and Satan, like really, really, you know, bad mouthing. And all of us were saying, no, don't do that, you know, it's bad. But they didn't listen, they didn't believe it, you know, and they carried on doing it. And eventually we got scared, so we broke the board up, we set it on fire, we smashed the glass. I think we chucked it in a lake. Because we got that, you know, we were like, oh, what have we done? Well, anyway, those two lads, this was in the August, remember, and the 13th of October 2001, so like 2 months later, they died in a car accident. Now, my brother was in the car, he was in the front. Those two lads that made fun out of Lucifer, Satan, whatever, they were in the back of the car. Now, my brother also did the Ouija board, but he never made fun out of it. The two people in the front of the car survived, thankfully. My two mates in the back of the car died. Now, we between us friends, we knew the Ouija board had something to do with that. And to this day, I'll maintain it had something to do with that. And my brother does as well. So, God rest their souls, Michael Joyce, he was 16, and Daniel Robinson, he was 15. Yeah, I love you. I love you, brothers. But, yeah. Hey, it's me again. So yeah, I was just saying that's what I'll always tell people, be careful when doing Ouija boards. And I'd never do it myself, ever again. And you know when people say, like, if you could go back and change anything in your life, would you? For the most part, I would say no. You know, I'm happy with my life. But the one thing I would change is trying to stop my two mates going anywhere near that Ouija board and to stop us ever doing it. But, you know, could I have done it? Who knows? But there, for the grace of God, go I. Well, I'd just like to change subject now because I know that's pretty heavy. I do have another satanic experience, but I'll leave that till another day because it involves a succubus and a boner. And that's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it till the next instalment of Neil and Monty Whoopoo's cryptid, creepy tales. But I'd just like to say a massive shout out to yourself, Rob, and Terry, Coley, Jessica Jones, Science Bob, Dave Scott, of course, the legend, everyone that works on Spaced Out Radio because it is fantastic.
Thank you.
And a shout out to the chat people as well. There's lots of nice people in the chat. You've got Susie B. She's really nice. Yeah, so yeah. So, and fingers crossed, I'll let you know how I get on I've got an interview literally in an hour or two's time to be a drug and alcohol support worker. And that is today. I'll let you know in the chat Saturday how I get on. But fingers crossed.
Yeah, drop a link. I'd love to see it. Definitely would love to see it.
Hey, Space Travellers. It's Neil here again. And I'd just like to continue my Monty Whoopoo Tales Part 2. The story of the succubus and the boner. So, if you're sitting comfortably, I will begin. So basically, one day I was going through a bit of a low patch, and I kind of said in my head, I know it's bad, but I said, I sell my soul to the devil to win the lottery. And I thought nothing of it, nothing happened. I knew it was bad, and I did regret it instantly, but I thought nothing of it. And a week later, basically what happened was, I went to bed, I went to sleep, and I had this weird, vivid dream. Basically, I was being dragged by the arm down these stone steps. There was a step, and I get dragged, then a step, and dragged. And then, when I got to the bottom, I could hear this low, guttural, demonic sound. You've all heard it before on TV shows and stuff, when they record those really scary EVPs. And then I felt something grabbed onto me, and I was trying to push it, and it was like pushing against the base of a mountain. Like, it was solid, like it wouldn't budge. And then I felt what I can only assume was a leg going over my body. So bearing in mind I'm lying down, I'm in bed. And I also had a massive boner. And I'm not joking. It was the biggest, but it's even bigger, a bigger boner than the first time that I laid eyes on Jessica Jones. And that's a big one. But anyway, like, I was bricking myself. I thought, what am I going to do? And I don't know why, but I instantly started saying, Jesus Christ, come and help me, like that. Excuse me. And then it just vanished, and I woke up like a shot. Ran downstairs into the kitchen. I was all panicky, you know, out of breath, and I was going, oh shit, I know what that was. It was like almost something was telling me, yeah, this stuff is real and you shouldn't mess around with it. And I was like, oh yeah. So just to continue, I will never ever mess around with that stuff. I know it's real. I've seen it on TV shows, and I've heard those sounds. I'll give you an example. Excuse me. There's an episode of Ghost Adventures, The Demon House, and Zach Bagans is in there on his own. Now, some people may think it's fabricated or not, but regardless of that, that sound, it was like this kind of that weird, horrible goat sound that you hear. That is basically the noise that I heard. Yeah, and that is one of the scariest things, paranormal experiences that I've ever had. That was weird. And especially because it affected me physically as well, like, you know what I mean? And I was close to getting succumbed by a succubus. So yeah, I mean, yeah, the stories of incubus and succubus are quite common. And I bet some Satanists, they probably get a kick out of that shit. Well, there you go. Each to their own, I suppose. So yeah, that is the tale of Monty Woo-Poo, the succubus and the boner. So there you go. Don't try it at home, kids, whatever you do. So yeah. And that's it for this week. But if you want to hear more tales from Monty Woo-Poo, tune in next week, because I'm bound to leave some more messages. I'll catch you later, guys. Good talking to you.
Well, hello, Rob G. It's Deb from Sacramento calling in. You guys are live right now. I'd like to share my Ouija board story. If you can take me live.
Okay. All right. Let me unmute everybody here. Oh, ooh. Okay. So you guys, Susie B, you can unmute whenever you, when you're ready. Deb's okay. Turn that off. I did. I did. Yeah. So everybody should be unmuted. Susie B, who just joined us, you can unmute. It looks like she did. So we have now Susie B joining us on the stage.
Woohoo.
And how are you, Susie B?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Hey,
Glad that you
Lucy.
joined us. Glad that you joined us. So Neil is something else, man. Neil is something else, man. The guy is hilarious, and I love when he leaves these messages. And there's Susie B, guys.
There she
There's Susie
is.
B.
She's a good listener, like
She
me.
Oh, it's so nice to
she
see
is, and she
you.
gives
Hey,
great,
Carly.
great input. And
Hey.
man, she is an awesome, awesome, awesome possum. Awesome
Yeah,
possum.
beautiful. I mean, like, man, you just pop up here like I'm
Yeah.
halfway in my pajamas. Yeah, so it's so nice to put a face to the name. You do such
Yes.
awesome work in the chat.
Oh, I'm still
We like
sitting here.
Thank you.
it. Yeah, we really
Yes.
appreciate you.
And we lost Area 51 at some point, so maybe he comes back. The link is always in the chat, Juan. So feel free to join us back whenever you're ready, buddy. And yeah, her hair is flowing, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
full
I'm
and
like,
fluffy,
my
flowing.
hair is like,
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely doesn't look
I
like
see
that.
it. I see it. I see it. Okay. Um. Okay. Sovereign wants to know, Susie, what is the symbology of your pendant, if you want to share?
I think it's Hopi, just the sun.
Ah, okay. There you
Oh
go,
yeah, you are
Sovereign.
down in Arizona, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Yeah, Nicole, you can keep asking Derek. He just will not get over the hump, man. He's a chat guy.
you know,
He's a chat guy, and that's
talk
okay.
so much.
You talk so much, I just figured maybe.
I know, right? Right? He
Yeah,
talks
yeah.
so much
Oh,
that
I
you
know.
figured that he would just be signing up to talk, but yeah,
Right, he'd be
that's,
beating me in here, is what I thought.
that's not. I think he might be mute, which is fine if you are, because then chat is the way that you communicate, and I'm okay with that, so it's all good, Derek. But if you're not, then you're scared, man. It's just kind of what it is, man. I'm sorry.
She say if you're mute.
Yeah, so he could be mute, and if he
Oh,
is, then chatting is the way that he would communicate, and
yeah,
we're okay with that.
yeah.
But if for some reason he does have a voice, he's
Chat's
scared
got it.
for us to hear it. Which okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe Desiree will call in one day, though. That would be something, right? If his girl Desiree called and
Oh,
at
that's
least let
Derek's
her voice
girl?
be heard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then we gotta find her then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. That's what I said.
Yeah,
So you
good
got to get
thinking.
Desiree and
Oh,
then get her on, and then Derek will follow. Derek will follow.
We're coming
So
after
Susie
you.
B, what you got for us? I know you always got
Girl, I'm
something
waiting to
awesome for us
hear.
every single time. Every time it's
Got her hair
Halloween
all done up,
season.
but yeah.
We were doing some spooky stuff earlier because this is where we're at this time of year. Did you have one that you wanted to drop on us, or you just hanging out? What you want to do?
I just have a short one with two shadow people that I seen in my teens. And it was when you showed yours, that shadow person in that photo,
Mm-hmm.
you could see legs on yours and actually the whole silhouette of the outline of a man. But mine, they didn't have legs, and it was just two like black silhouettes, and the eyes were holes, and the mouth was like round, and they were kind of just like at the foot of my bed staring at me. So, and you could see through them, but they were dark. They were like gray, dark, well, just black, but see-through, translucent,
Semi-opaque.
semi-opaque.
There you go. And look,
Were they
And-
darker than dark?
Well, I had a night light in my room, so I could see them in the light.
I always watch out if you have all your lights off and then you see one that's darker than dark. That's like yeah.
So it would. You couldn't tell though if it was like. I mean, like you can see these things like they just move around. Did it affect you in any way, or like try to communicate or come close to you?
They were just staring at me, and I just put the covers over my head because I didn't want them to look at me. So I just
I'm only
kind of
laughing
like-
because I did similar when I was younger.
Yeah, it was scary, but I could still feel them when I put the covers over my head. I could still feel them standing there. It was an intense energy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nikki, Angels Alive, thanks for joining us. I know you have a channel over there, and I know you have a good one for us. So, if you want to drop a story in the chat, or you could call in 856-843-3444, or hop on stage with us here and tell a great story. Then the floor is open. You can find the link to come in if you would like, pinned at the top of the chat. So just let you know.
Thank you, Maggie.
And there was somebody that asked something of you. Let me see. And I don't know if this unlocks your soul or something like that, but Sovereign is asking Susie B if he can see your palm lines. I don't know if you want. I don't know. I don't know
Oh,
how
will
to
you look
answer
at
that.
mine?
Which
Oh.
hand?
Yeah, which hand,
you're right.
Sovereign?
I left.
Which hand? Which palm? Which hand, Sovereign? She might be game for
Still
this.
got that left hand out there.
Yeah, it's usually the left, but I don't know.
She's always leaning on her left.
He wants the right.
The right. Ooh. Will you do
That's the
mine?
palm
too?
line.
Oh, look at that.
Sovereign, are you about to unlock something right now? What's going on there?
That's some interesting lines.
Sovereign's about to read your. Oh, I didn't know you were an artist, Susie.
Oops.
Are you an artist?
Yeah, ever since I could hold a pencil.
Oh, you got something awesome to show us?
On the whole screen?
That would be bomb. Okay, he says, okay, thanks. Just wanted to check the top line. Okay, what does that mean, Sovereign? What do you know? Top line, okay, what did you read? I think there's something more that we're not getting all the data.
Yeah.
Thank
Will
you.
you read mine? I'm like, I love this stuff.
Okay, Bomber says long life. That's okay, I like that. Great. Okay. Megan says she is so good. Sorry, Susie.
Oh, private. Dang.
She busted you out. You're a fantastic artist. So on top of a great thinker, awesome hair, awesome palm lines that clearly say that you're gonna live a long life. You got it going on over there, Susie B. You just got it going on.
Thank you.
And Eugene stepped in the building, says Sovereign, be about that, Rob. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, when you get to start talking about palm lines and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I get excited. Read my next.
Brother Eugene is in the building, Bomber. And yeah, so Susie just dropped the shadow person story on us. And man, I'll just say, obviously, they're real. And man, it's just.
Hello, Eugene.
It's one of those things, man, where you realize something is real, and it's like, dude, where does it go? Like, where does that really go?
I was just laughing at her story because mine was in the funeral home when I seen the shadow person hanging upside down in the window. So, and the street light. So I had like bay windows, right? So if you're like standing looking at the windows, that 3 windows, it was in the left window, but the street light was coming from the right window. So what was casting a shadow on the window is what I tried to question. You know what I mean? Because there was like no source of light from the left side. The light was coming from the right side. So, yeah, that's why I laughed, because I couldn't figure out what that was. And I remember hiding under the covers like, please just go away. And
Never
next
come
time I
back
looked,
again.
it was daylight, and it was gone. So I don't know where it went.
Yeah, where do
Couldn't
they
tell you
lurk?
what it
Where
was.
do they go? Where do they come from? What are they? Are they us? Like, as soon as we leave our bodies, are we shadow people? It's weird. It's like we know they're there and we've seen them, and they're. It's not like they're not like you said, Susie, in minds. It's a full formed, literally of a human. So you would obviously think it's related to a human in some way, and it's like, well, what is it?
Doesn't Susie B work at the place with the ghost or whatever going on the cameras? Or is that somebody else?
I'm self-employed.
Oh, then it ain't you.
Okay.
Who was it that was on here that one day talking about they'd go to work and like the doors and stuff would like or move around or something? I don't know.
Ooh,
Didn't you
good
have?
question.
Wasn't that like a couple weeks ago or
It's only a
something?
handful of people that came up. It would have been Susie
Right.
B. I know Maggie M10 came up.
Deb said it's her.
Amy WC came up. And it was only a handful of people.
Because they worked the graveyard shift. That's all I remember of the story. They worked the graveyard shift, and they, huh? What?
I kind of remember this. I remember hearing it. I don't know. Maybe I watched it though.
Oh, I guess it was Deb from SAC. It was me, Haunted Workplace, because they said they were by themselves, and it wasn't until they put in cameras or something, and then other people started seeing it on the cameras or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, living in a funeral home, you just don't talk about the stuff because it like devalues the house. You know, you don't want people to know it's a funeral home. You know what I mean? Because they'll be like, "Is there ghosts?" And I mean, how do you honestly answer that when you've seen all sorts of stuff you couldn't explain? You know, the lights.
You know what?
You leave and see lights on. You go back in the house to turn off the lights, and the lights are off. You know what I mean? So where are these? Who's turning on and off the lights? You know, I don't know how many times I went through that house with my dad's 870 shotgun, looking for somebody because I could hear somebody walking in the house. You know, but can never find anybody. So probably good for them.
All right, looks like
You
we
know
have
what? That
another
would be a
person
selling
joining us.
point.
What's
That'd be a
that?
selling point.
We have another person
My son
joining
always
us here.
says.
Go ahead, finish that, Coley.
Oh no, I was gonna say my son always says that I'm gonna buy a haunted house and that they're not gonna come and visit me. I'm like, that's really, but I was like, yeah, if that haunted house, that would be like.
That reminds me of the haunted or the creepy chair down in this one lady's basement. I did some yard work for her, and she asked me if there was anything in the house that I wanted, and I was like, "There's a chair down in the basement that's got this like really creepy carving on it that I like." And she's like, "Oh no, you can't have that because one of my in-laws will not come over as long as that chair is in the house." So it was pretty creepy too. It kind of like looked like kind of like a lion, but it was like really fancy woodwork. It was pretty creepy. I liked it though.
All right,
It was
now
all
we're
made
gonna
out of wood.
welcome Nikki Angels Our Life has joined the party and joined
Oh,
the
brother.
conversation. Has come on the stage. And
Hey, guys.
and Nikki has a
Hey,
channel, and so I know Nikki has something for us here today. How are you, Nikki?
Well, I'm doing better than I was. Hey, Rob. Doing better than I was the last few days. Hey, Susie. It's good
I
seeing
always
you.
see you in the chat, and I've tuned in. I've come over to your channel as well, so it's very nice to meet you formally. So,
Thank you. It's good meeting you too.
definitely, let's blow our minds tonight. I know you got a good one for us.
Yeah, I've got one about a true demon. There's different forms of demons. There's true demons and what I call wannabes. And so one night I was sleeping and knew that I was in a form of not astral sleep. What the heck is it called? Sorry, I just got off of a over 6 hour long phone call, so I'm a little loopy at the moment. Yeah, I'm a little loopy at the moment, but basically, so I'm asleep. I'm in higher consciousness in the sleep. It's a form of lucid dreaming that isn't quite lucid dreaming. And I'm in a childhood neighborhood in the supposed dream. And I walk down the street from the house that I lived in, and the sky is normal. The atmosphere is normal Seattle atmosphere. And I turn the corner to walk up to my friend's house, which was at the next corner, but across the street, and the sky changed. And I didn't really recognize that the sky had changed until I went, oh, wait a minute. I turn around, and behind me, the sky was bright and vivid, and the old song of "The Bluest Skies You Ever Seen Are in Seattle." That's the song that runs through my head every time I turn around in that dream. And what becomes paranormal is this whole thing is a paranormal situation, because what ends up taking place during the dream, I realize is not a dream. It's higher consciousness, and I'm literally in the process of being attacked by a true demon who literally wanted me dead. And at the very end of it, I can tell you at the very end of this, I do come out of it okay, but I am not only physically threatened, I am, my soul is almost taken. And I sat straight up in bed, wide awake. I mean, I could not get out of this situation, it's almost, it reminds me very much of what the ETs do in one of my abductions regarding how they deal with the brain and trying to force the human brain into sleep mode or dream mode. Okay, so I'm walking up this street. The atmosphere has changed from a bright, vivid to a like the same day but dreary. Like all the colors are significantly muted. Go from that into my friend's house. I walk into her house. I'm an adult in this. This is not, I'm in the physical body that I'm in now. I walk into the house. So in other words, I'm not a child. I walk into the house, go up 2 different flights of stairs, and the house changes. It's a completely different house. And I'm recognizing I'm not in a dream. This is not the house. This upstairs part is not the house. And I walk down a hall and I go, okay, where the hell am I? And there's rooms I don't recognize. And there's a room to my left that I am drawn to, and I can't figure out why I'm drawn to it. Open doorway. I go to walk through the doorway, and there is a physical but invisible barrier there. And obviously you can't walk through. And I went, well, I know how to get through those. I know how to walk through portals because I've done it in astral before. Not a problem. And I literally start forcing my energy to go through it. Big freaking mistake. Should have recognized that as a psychic medium right off the freaking bat. Because you shouldn't have to force your way through a barrier. You should just be able to walk, or through a portal. You should just be able to walk through it. And on the other side, I literally forced my way through the barrier. walk through, and the environment is where there's a not so sleeping old man body in a bed in the middle of the room. And I walk up and I'm looking at him going, okay, are you actually sleeping, or are you dead, or what the hell are you? And he opens his eyes wide awake as if he was never asleep, looks at me, and he says, well, hello, Nikki. And I'm like, how do you know my name? And who are you? And he says his name, and I instantly recognize that this is a demon. This is not a wannabe. This is a true demon, and true demons are very rare. Very, very rare, in fact. And I knew I was in trouble. True demon is many millennia years old. Wannabe can be 500 years to 1500 years on up. And he literally, how do I explain this? He didn't just sit up in bed. He came up out of the bed as if on a platform, coming straight up, as if he were standing up in the bed. No bent legs, no sitting up in bed, straight from the feet all the way up, and floated down to the ground very quickly. Stood in front of me and said a couple of things to me, and I responded. And I had not even a millisecond of fear, but such a small fraction of fear run through me, because I recognized I needed to fight, and I recognized that I didn't know if I was going to live through this. And that fraction of a thought, millisecond of a thought, screwed me over, basically. And that was when I realized I made a major freaking mistake. And he had his hands around my throat, was strangling me. And no matter what I did, I could not fight him off, no matter what I tried. In all of my physical defense classes, all my psychic abilities, all my energy abilities, there was nothing I could do. And I was literally dying, and I could feel it. And he was literally, at that second, he was literally reaching in to my chest and reaching down through my chest into my stomach and reaching into my soul. And he literally had his skinny hands and almost claw-like fingers or fingertips around my soul, and I could feel my soul trying to be forced out of my body. At that second, I had another millisecond of fear, and the next thing I know, I have words popping into my head that are angelic words that I don't even know where they came from, or I didn't at that second in time. And I am saying that phrase, gotta be careful. I'm saying that phrase out loud, barely able to squeak it out of my mouth. And he literally stopped what he was doing. He literally stopped strangling me and reaching into my body. Pulled his hand out without my soul and which oddly enough, I've told this story before, but I've never stated that he had reached into my body. That's the first time I've ever said that. Really terrified me, actually. And he looked at me, just stood there, dropped both of his hands, just stood there in utter and complete shock. Didn't understand how I knew those words. And he was in such shock and horror that, I mean, he just, and fear came over him, and he instantly left. And the barrier to that room had dropped. The second he had left, the lighting, the color variation that was once in that room went back to normal. It was bright and vivid and alive again. And that was when I literally sat straight up in my own bed, wide awake. And the whole thing, I mean, what I recognized was that it really was not a dream. It was in my higher consciousness, and truly very frightening. And when I have talked to others, very few people have I ever told about this until I actually came out publicly about it in the last year or so. One person I actually said the phrase to, and they went and looked it up, and it's an extremely rare phrase that is used to, how do I say this? Basically repel demons. There's no way I could have known that unless I had, in one of my own lifetimes, this was not a psychic thing. Based on everything that I had experienced that night, this was not a psychic thing. It was not intuition. It was not somebody giving me the phrase. It literally was something that I recognized later, that it was something that I knew from one of my lifetimes, long before Earth was ever Earth, before Earth was ever a blip in consciousness, before it ever became a planet. So yeah, that was my most scariest moment in my entire life.
That was insane. That was insane, Nikki. Oh my God. Sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm just sitting here on the edge of my seat. And some people had some things to say about that. Maggie M10 had a dream like that. My daughter was on the table strapped down to something without eyes, was trying to do something to her. And then Eugene states you have seem to have clarity of memory recall. We'll have to study this. And let's see. Derek Galloway, Nikki has some good stories. And then Maggie actually had a question, which I would kind of ask as well. Well, Mike says frightening seems like an understatement. Maggie M10 says her question is, why do dreams like that stick in our minds as if it actually happened? And then my question would be, you made a statement during that about, when you're in that mode or in that state, or whether it's lucid dream or just when you are clearly experiencing something. I always wondered, and I think you said something to that effect, is if there's a chance that you can be taken at that point. You know what I mean? Like taken away from your body. And it sounded like that's what you were saying.
Yeah, you can. Sorry, I just went through a major coughing fit. You can actually, what I experienced was a true demon. And yeah, my soul could have been ripped out of its body at that given moment in time, but I fought. And that's the key factor, is the recognition that it's a higher consciousness state versus a lucid dreaming. The other thing about it is that the ETs are extremely, as an ET abductee, I know that the ETs are extremely proficient at putting, or certain races of ETs are very proficient at putting the human brain into dreamlike states, and also creating screen memories, which is kind of beside the point, but the point being that they have that ability. So do demons, so do true demons, and get this, folks, so do your loved ones on the other side. Your spirits, your loved ones who are spirit form, can do this as well. You can actually start out dreaming and end up in a higher consciousness state where your body is no longer technically dreaming. It is, my mom, okay, here's an example. My mom is still alive. This is also another FYI. She has severe Alzheimer's and dementia. She astral travels to me. My family brings her to me and puts her in my dreams. And this shows me just what level she is at mentally, whether she's able to communicate with me or not. Now, my family who's deceased on the other side, obviously on the other side, they will come in and participate in my dreams in a dream state. And then once they're in, my brain goes into a higher consciousness state, and I will either stay in the higher consciousness state, but create the dream state around me at the same time, where we are comfortable. Well, it was trying to kill me. I had been dealing with something specific, and it doesn't want me around. That's how I found that one out a couple days later. Anyway, didn't want me dealing with this one situation. So that's an answer to Susie B's question. It's up on the screen, or was up on the screen. But you can also, once you go into that higher consciousness state, you can go into astral, usually relatively easy. So just a lot of FYIs.
Yeah, Derek Galloway wants to know, then how is reincarnation real if family is on the other side? If you have an answer.
Then how is, can you put that back up on the screen?
Yeah.
And how is reincarnation? Okay. I don't even know where to begin with that one. Reincarnation is very real. It depends on what they want to do for themselves and for you. You can also have, now this is what I have been told from other psychics. I have not experienced this myself yet. But there are spirits when they've crossed over to the other side, to where they have a residual. Somehow they have a residual form that comes in and stays. I don't quite understand that, but that's what's been told to me. What I personally have experienced is there are many of my ancient family members like many, many, many generations past who have stuck around. They did not want to reincarnate. Those stick around for me and the remainder of my family who are still living now. And then I've got some who have gone, excuse me, gone back in and have reincarnated. Most of mine want to wait until certain living family members have crossed over. And then we've all got different soul contracts with each other. And so what I have been learning from them is that like they're waiting for my mom and then they're waiting for me to eventually cross. And then that's when they will let go. And that's when they will release and choose to go back into a form of reincarnation.
Wow, that's pretty deep. That's pretty deep. Maggie M10 states, taking the soul. That's how I felt in the dream I mentioned. All I remember is I felt I had won when I woke up. And yeah, I mean, you
Understand.
feel like, you know what it reminds me of? What is that? I
Oh, there we
think
go.
it's Ghost, the movie
Oh, yeah.
Ghost. And
Yeah.
then you know how they're in that other realm, and that's kind of sort of how even I feel as well, and it sounds like Maggie as well. Like when you're in that whether it's a dream state or a level of consciousness that we're not understanding, and I believe it is a level of consciousness we're not understanding, because these places that and I've said this before, these places that I've gone to or that I keep revisiting over the years seem like actual places, and everything is as I remember it from the previous time. So it feels like it is that, like that ghost realm. So I don't know if that's how you feel, Maggie, but kind of seems like it. I don't know. Yeah, so what do you, I mean, as far as, because I hear
There we
what
go.
you're saying, like, what do you feel, how does that relate to what it is that you're explaining?
Okay. You got to hit me with that again. I heard
Yeah.
everything that you said, but it's not. That's
So
just
how
because
does
I've
that,
done too long of talking.
how does so that realm, that ghost realm, if you remember from the movie, where
Hmm.
where they're trapped in that realm, and there's like a bunch of weird, like evil stuff going on in there. There's like a bad side of it, there's a good side, but it's like you're out of body sort of when you experience it. Like, how does that translate, or
Oh,
does it translate into like what you were just explaining? Like, is that a description of what you're
okay. So,
visioning?
when you're talking about, because, okay, how I look at that movie is very on a different side to some degree,
Okay.
because um, okay, if I remember that movie correct, they had wicked souls that were wicked were being sucked down into a void, into like a black void.
Yes.
Um, and from what I understand, that is not what is done for the souls who are wicked. What
Okay.
I have, how I understand it, and from what I have been repeatedly told by numerous different um, people who have crossed over, not only family members, but also crime victims, and people who have come to me from the other side, who've asked for help in different ways. Um, souls don't get sucked under. They go, basically what's been shown to me and what Jesus himself has shown to me, which let me tell you, that's a whole nother subject. But everybody has talked about they get taken, they get surrounded. The ones that are on the wicked side or the evil side, I guess is what you'd call them, they get surrounded. Now, how I've actually seen it, and I have, when I crossed over 50 souls, actually it was more than 50, I stopped counting at 52. It was an all in one night type of situation that's another subject. But anyway, there were the item, the being that was evil was completely surrounded by, I want to call them sentinel angels, but I don't know what else to call them. But they were completely surrounded and then taken. They're crossed over, and it's kind of like a form of a prison. And what I was told, specifically told, was that they will be, quote unquote, re-educated. And it could take them 100 or more years before they are released, because they have to be re-educated. And that's how it was phrased to me, re-educated, before they will be allowed back in. If you have a soul who has been wicked and who chooses not to do that crossing over, because I gather from what I've been told, there are souls who try to cross over that for whatever reason somehow avoid getting surrounded. It's kind of like, reminds me of military guards surrounding a soul. That's what it reminds me of. It's just like they get surrounded by a group of higher beings, and they get their ass hauled off to reformatting college type of thing. And I mean, it took me a while to comprehend all of this, because I am the kind of person where I ask questions up one side and down the other. And believe me, I asked. So, and this is basically what I've been told, is that they literally get surrounded and escorted off to this college-like facility, lack of better phrasing. And somebody recently said, oh, so they get hauled off to prison. And I said, well, yeah, that's one way to look at it. I don't think of it that way because of how it was explained to me, but and their soul is forced to be re-educated. They're not allowed to come back until they have been properly re-educated. And I'm like, wow, okay. Now I've seen souls. Here's a different side to souls that I've seen. I've seen souls where they have been tortured, have had holes and rips in them because they have been tortured by entities, beings, whatever you want to call them. And that was, you talk about frightening. So there are things that can happen to a human soul, or any soul, didn't matter. Actually, I saw that happen to human souls, Sasquatch souls, souls of the Fae, at least two other kind of souls, but I never did really recognize what the heck they were. I didn't recognize if they were part of the Fae or what the heck they were. I just knew that they were souls, because souls have a very specific look. when they're in their original form. And I honestly, I did not know that souls could have rips and tears and shreds and holes in them. I was horrified by what I saw. So yeah, there are some really scary things. Not everything is all hunky dory and good and positive and light and caring and all of that. But it's not all bad either. You've got good and bad. So also
One thing I
basically,
wanted to ask you about
go
shadow
for it.
people too, because we talked about that earlier, and I just wanted your
Mm-hmm.
opinion on what you feel like shadow people are.
I've had experiences with shadow people. Um, in my experiences, I've had both good and bad. Sometimes shadow people can be what you see out of the corner of your eye, and it's solely because you cannot fully psychic. Oh, I'm gonna lose my throat. Hang on a minute. Okay, let's try that again. Solely because you cannot see visually or psychically see them, you are only seeing them out of your peripheral. Some people have experiences. They have bad experiences. Mine is the bad experiences that I've had. I've been. It's a form of an energy. That's what the bad is. I have not had attacks or anything like that regarding those kind of beings. I know other people that have had just really bad experiences. I don't know what to call them. I don't know what to say about them other than this is what I know. So I know that some people consider them all bad, and that's not been my experience. It's just not. I've had both good and bad. It also depends on, in my personal experience, it also depends, and what I've seen from others that I know that have gone through this, it also depends upon what your level is of, I was going to say consciousness, that's not what I mean, how open you are, if that makes sense. So the more you start advancing your soul, the more reading you do, the more open things that you do regarding how you open up your frequencies. You can have a situation where, because you're opening up your frequencies more, you can bring more in that you start seeing, whether it's psychically or peripheral. You'll start seeing shadows. But like I said, it's just every person has their own feeling on it. I've had both bad and good.
Well, that's good to get your perspective on it. And I ask a lot of people because I've seen them and I have one on film, and I know that those things are real. And I'll just always keep trying to figure out where they're coming from. And then that compounded with the fact that I know during these dreams that I have, that it's highly plausible that we are probably leaving our bodies and going to these places wherever they are, And then so it's always a question
Mm-hmm.
of, well, where is that? Where does that place reside? Is it in the
Ah,
same realm that the shadow people are found in as well? So,
mm,
and just trying to put the
that's a
pieces
great
together
question.
as we go. Yeah, I mean,
That's a
that's
great question. Honestly, in answer to that, um, in your sleep. Okay, so I know Dolores Cannon talks about how she's had thousands of people talk about a wide range of subjects, one of them being every night. Now, this is where I disagree with her. Where she's actually stated every night in your dreams, when you're asleep, when you're physically asleep, your body will astral travel every single night. No, not my experience, not what I know from vast many other people. Um, my own son, he's in his early 30s, and periodically, and I'm a late night. I'm on a night schedule again. I was on a day schedule, but now I'm back on a night schedule. And when I'm on a night schedule, and he's just gotten off of work, he'll be up for a couple of hours and then he'll crash out, just like everybody after work. But the difference with him is that he'll come and astral travel to me while I'm awake. And he'll go, Mom, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And I'm like, you couldn't have picked up the phone? And so he's like, no, I want to show you something. You got to come with me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I may go astral traveling while I'm awake and he's asleep. But I know that he doesn't astral travel every single time he goes to sleep. Now, does that mean that these shadow beings are in astral? Yeah, they can be. I've got friends who, that's one of the things that they used to do is emergency paranormal services on a daily basis. They used to have up to 10 cases a day coming in. It got so bad. And so they used to do a lot of astral travel to different locations across the globe. And some things that I've learned from them was that, yeah, you can have all kinds of entities and beings and ETs. I was trying to think of what to call them, but ETs in astral, and in higher consciousness. I mean, it's just, and the other thing is when you astral travel, so basically you're not alone. I mean, you can have, when you're astral traveling, I mean, you could see other souls astral traveling, and you can see their silver cords attached to them, or you might just see their form, whatever they look like in their physical form is usually what they'll appear as in their astral form, usually, not always, but usually. So there's a lot of things that people don't realize that you can see when you're in astral, or in higher consciousness. Did I answer your question?
yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's a rabbit hole that
Oh,
we could jump
huge.
down with that.
Yeah, it
and
is.
and here's just another layer to it as well. As you were saying that, there was another aspect of how, just trying to figure it out, because I totally believe that when you talk to enough people who have experienced the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll be able to put different pieces of the puzzle together.
Bingo.
And I feel like I've even had, because I know what people say shadow people are, but I still ask every time. And one of the things that I had pondered is, if it was like the consciousness or the soul of someone who is astral traveling at the time? Like, do
That's
they
what
appear to you as a shadow person
they
because
can.
they're not in their physical form?
They can. Here's the thing about shadows. Okay, here goes the throat. Sorry. An entity or a being can actually cloak themselves in such a way to where you're either not going to see them or they can appear as a shadow being or a shadow person. Um, and somebody in astral, those that know how to cloak themselves usually don't show up as a shadow person unless they're very inadept at cloaking. So there's that side of it too. So you can have an ET in astral, but for an ET they're not going to show up as a shadow person. You will not see them whatsoever. Now you can have a wannabe demon try to cloak themselves, and you can see them as a shadow, or you can have other hat man, or you can have other entities, other beings, deliberately trying to scare you. I had a creepy crawly in my mom's hospital room one night, and I was on a video call time. I think we had somewhere between 7 to 11 people on the call. Mom was asleep at the time, and I had a creepy crawly, which is what I call them, and it was huge. But it was a shadow person, but it had enough form to where it slithered, but had feet, or legs, whatever you want to call it, where it slithered like a snake, but yet had legs that got up and crawled from the snake form, and then it literally crawled up a wall, and then onto the ceiling, and I'm literally on the phone video call with these people, and I'm like, can I please keep you on the call while I take you off headphones and deal with this? And they watched while I dealt with it. So yeah, you can have beings and creepy crawlies look like shadow beings or shadow people. Can pretty much be anything. Now I do know that there are going to be people out there that disagree with me. That's fine. I'm simply telling you what my experience is and what I know now. What I know now versus what I know, say, 1 or 2 years from now with more experience or even more experience on the road could change. And I may, 2 years from now say something different. This is what I'm saying now is based on what I know now. So
far, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm 55 and I have learned an awful lot in those 55 years, but yet I am still learning. I learned every single day of my life
Glad to hear you
something
say
new.
that. I'm glad to hear you say that because a
That's
lot of people out there,
it's a big
and I
deal.
don't like that. A lot of people, there's definitely a group of people out there that seem like that claim that they have everything figured out and they just have all the
Yeah.
answers, and I
No,
think that can never be the case.
that's
But
detrimental.
Susie B said that guy right there reminds her of an experience that she had. What is that, Susie B?
Oh, yeah. What is that?
So when I was in my teens, I lived with my parents, and I was laying in bed one night, and I fell asleep, kind of a sleep dream state, and I could hear, actually the walls were so thin I could hear my parents breathing in their room, and then all of a sudden my eyes were closed and I was just going to sleep, and I could hear my parents start to like moan, but not that kind of moan. It was when you're asleep and you start to feel that falling sensation, and you try to snap out of that experience, and you start to kind of moan to try to wake yourself up. They both were doing that, and after hearing them do that, I heard like something come through their bedroom, through the wall and onto the dresser, and then it jumped onto my bed, and I could feel like something really little walking on the bed, something tiny. And in that instant, I was staring right through my eyelids at the wall, and in the wall was a blue square, and in that blue square was the silhouette of that shadow man right there without the eye glow.
The one
Wow.
in the middle with the hat man.
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's creepy. That's creepy. And to go with that, I don't know. Nikki? Have you seen my shadow person?
No.
Okay, I would like to show you because this is mind blowing.
Oh, wow.
Right, here. So right there in the middle of your frame, and there's a zoom in of it as well.
There's a delay on my there it is. Okay. Wow.
Full body, full
Yeah.
body.
That you got a full body apparition there.
And so when this for me, and I'm just I like to have evidence with things. I mean, if you have proof, I would like to see it. Sometimes people don't have proof, but when you have something like this that you can show, I mean, it's clear without a doubt what it is that you're seeing. So it's like you don't even have to guess about, are shadow people real? Like, this is picture proof evidence that these things are really real. And so that's what sends me on that, and that's why I ask so many questions to different people
5'8".
who dabble in that realm, because this is a full head to toe, a full body shot, and
Yeah.
definitely not cast by anyone in my home. And the light source, obviously, with any shadow, where the shadow meets the floor, is where the person should be. And
So
yeah, go ahead.
I've got questions for you. One is this have you been able to estimate how tall this person is?
I would say this is probably about 6 feet, about 6 feet tall. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep getting 5'8". And it feels like a guy with his hands in his pockets.
I would agree.
That's what I keep feeling. It's also what appears visually, but what I keep feeling is, excuse me, somebody that's about somewhere between 18 and 23. I really want to say 24, but I keep going back to 23. Hands in the pockets. Nothing demonic, nothing evil. Do you have a roommate?
I live with my lady here, and right now it's just us. Kids are out the house, so yeah.
It feels like this is
Let me
like
tell you the full
like a
story.
distant family member.
Let me
What
tell
is
you the
going?
full story.
Yeah.
So here's how this all led up. So we bought this house, moved here about 3 years ago. This picture was taken last November, so a year ago. So what happened leading up to this? So there was in the room that I'm in now in the studio. Uh, I would hear, and at first I thought it was only me hearing these things, but at this time we still had a couple kids in the house. So about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, about a year after we moved in, roughly, I would hear footsteps, literal, clear as day, and I'm in here all day and night,
Yeah.
and in the middle of the night, literally, footsteps as if someone's in the crawl space right above my head or
Mm-hmm.
on the roof. And for the
I have that.
longest time, I wasn't thinking because I hadn't had this experience yet. So I'm thinking in the physical realm, I'm thinking literally someone's in the crawl
Yeah.
space, like an actual human,
Yeah.
or that someone is on the roof, but it didn't make any sense why that would be. And I would hear this, and it would just, I would trip out a little bit on it, and I would hear this over days and days and days. It went on for a while. So we have dinner one night, and I'm talking to my lady about this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I just have this feeling. I think maybe somebody passed away here, or there's something in this house. And then I explained why I thought that and what I was hearing, and my daughter came out and said that she heard the same thing. And her room is in the complete opposite side of this house, and she said she would hear the same things, like she would hear footsteps on the roof. We were the only two that would hear this, though. No one else heard this. So six
So your
months
lady
later,
never heard. Your lady never heard it.
never
Okay,
heard it.
but both you and your daughter.
Yes.
And how old is your daughter?
She is 14.
I was just thinking 13. Okay.
Yeah, she could have been 13 at the time, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
And she so we both agreed. Or I was just shocked when I heard her say that, and I'm like, I told her that she didn't know I had been hearing this. I didn't know she had been hearing this. We
Mm-hmm.
both find this out at the same time, so we're tripping out over that. And then maybe I'd say 6 to 8 months later is when this image was caught. And so then that's when I start putting those things together. Like, okay, there's definitely something here. Then we had one other experience and I talked about this before. We had somewhere in between this time, we had a lady show up at our door. I can't remember if it was daytime or nighttime. We had a random lady, show up at our door and ask us if she could come use the shower and for some money. Just random, showed up at our front door, and
Interesting.
I was like, wow, this is. And my girl answered the door, and then she came and got me, and then
Mm-hmm.
I came and I kind of was peeking around the corner, and the lady was sitting there, and then I guess she told her whatever she told her, and the lady left, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. She would ask that. I wonder if she went to our neighbor's house next, and we went and looked out the window and didn't see her. So I had my girl look on our Ring camera, because we have Ring camera on the front door.
Mm-hmm.
We have it on the front of the garage as well on both sides, so you can see the full driveway. You have to walk through the driveway to get through the gate to get to the door. We looked on the Ring camera. It was not triggered. It had not been triggered by this person that showed up at our door asking us to come in and use the shower. Mind blowingly insane. I would never fabricate a story ever. So anything that I'm sitting there telling you is actual factual fact.
Yeah.
And this literally happened. Okay. And so then
And
I'm
both
tying
you and
all
your
three
daughter
of these
saw.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm tying all three of these things together. And my daughter was the one that caught this picture. And she brought it to me. And she was totally unaware what shadow people were. She showed it to me. She said, she was on FaceTime in here, and you can see her friend up at the top. But she brought it to me, and I'm like, I knew about shadow people, so I'm like, have you ever heard of shadow people? And she was like, no. And I really didn't want to scare her at the moment, so I didn't go into detail, but I said it's a thing, and maybe you should look into it. And she got online and kind of all night she looked it up. I talked to her the next day, and I asked her again, did she check on and see what that what shadow people were, and she was like, yeah, I couldn't. I stayed up and I couldn't, and she was just petrified once she found out what they were.
No,
But
no, no, no,
all
no.
those things are tied in.
Well, one, I don't feel like this thing is evil. I feel like it's somebody's deceased family. That's what they feel like. They feel like
Yeah.
they're feels like a male between 18 and 23. It's almost the feeling that I get is they're searching, but yet they don't understand why they haven't found whoever it is. And I don't understand why they're still in the house. I had an old man, my spouse and I, back in the day, we rented a little 1-bedroom house. And I remember when we went to rent it, the old guy who had lived there with he and his wife, he was still there. She was alive, but he was deceased. And I told him walking into that, and I was pregnant at the time. I was like 4 months pregnant. And I told the guy, I said, I know you're here. I can feel you. I can smell you. I have no problem in you staying here, but you screw with me, my family, my kids, or any animals on this property, I will force you out of here so fast it'll make your head spin. I have no idea how to do that, but I will find out. And he became a protector for years. We lived in that house for 12 years. He became a protector. So one of the things that I usually recommend to people is that if they have a spirit in the house, and I grew up in a house like this to where I had, spirits all the time around me. And it was a young woman, about somewhere between 23 and 26 years old, and she was killed in a car accident, and her spirit stayed in the house, and she would rock in the rocking chair in the basement. There was no rocking chair in the basement. And you could hear her walk in the middle of the night when I was supposed to be asleep, when my mom was asleep. And I knew my mom wasn't up because I'd go and check because I could hear somebody walking across the living room floor. And the living room floor was a hardwood floor. And hardwood floors seem to have, in my experience, bring about more sound than like linoleum covered floors, excuse me, or things of that nature. And like with her, I would never hear her walk on the cement floor in the basement, but I would hear her rock in the rocking chair, which I always found strange. But regarding your situation, whenever I walk in, I would highly recommend just having an open conversation with your family and saying, as long as you don't affect me and my family in a detrimental or negative way, I have no problem with you staying here. Now, some people are going to tell you, oh my God, don't do that. Look, we have to all live together. That's what it boils down to, whether we like it or not. You're going to have spirits coming and going, family coming and going, whoever you've got who's on the other side, they're going to come and visit you anyway. But if you've got one in residence, my best recommendation is just to get along with them if you can. Unless they're violent, then that's a different ballgame altogether. And this one sounds like he's doing the proverbial walk back and forth, excuse me, across the ceiling, where you guys are hearing it. He wants attention. I mean, usually if you get that kind of stuff, it's to draw attention. And they may need your help for something. That's the other thing that I figured out, is that there are times when a spirit, most spirits they're not malevolent. And if he's earthbound, if this is truly what I'm picking up, that it is a male, that he's just hanging around because he doesn't know what to do or where to go, you can help him cross over if he so chooses to do that. You can even ask the other side or your own spirit guides, because typically we have more than 2 spirit guides. You can ask your own spirit guides and say, hey, can we help get this guy to cross over? And who on the other side do you know that can help cross him over? You can have an open conversation, family conversation, say, hey, we're going to have a family meeting. We need to talk about this. And invite him. Say, hey, we want to have a conversation with you. Now, if this is a true shadow person who is malevolent, then obviously you're not going to want to do that. But the key factor here is, in any paranormal, is stand your ground. Don't stand in fear. That's the biggest no-no that you could commit. Don't stand in fear, because if you stand in fear, that causes your own frequency to cause problems. And it'll cause problems for you and those that are around. They will, especially if they're malevolent, they will prey on that, and they'll prey on you, and you don't need that. That's BS behavior. And you don't need that, especially when you've got kids in the house. Excuse me. Or if your daughter has friends over, they don't need to be around that either. So it's just better for your daughter's protection and for her friends' protection. The other thing is you can protect your home before you have this family meeting. One of the things that
Oh, we lose you, Nikki? Can't hear you. Think you might be breaking up. I think you nailed it, Nikki, actually, and I'll tell you why once we get you back. Just in case you can hear me, Nikki, we can't hear you. Okay, so she dropped off. So maybe she'll come back in. But and I really wanted to tell her that hopefully we get her back so I could tell her this before we close out. And we address Maggie M10's question of, let me pin that real quick before we lose it in the chat. Okay, here we go. Okay, you're
Okay,
back,
that was
Nikki.
strange. Yeah, that was strange. I have no idea what happened. Anyway, so walk the four corners. Repeat your whatever it is you're going to say, whether it's a prayer or whatever statement you want to state for protection of that property. Use your visualization techniques. Imagine a dome over the property. And one of the things that I learned is walk around the property 4 times. Now, I do know people that go with they burn sage when they walk, or they burn Palo Santo, or they burn a combination of the two. I know people that use gemstones to protect four corners. You can even ask certain certain family members of the Fae family to come in and help protect your property. If you do that, I highly recommend you do not use iron on your property. But also, if you do that, then you might want to consider things where things that are positive, like a small Fae garden or a fairy garden, things like that. But walking the 4 perimeters, corner to corner, that kind of thing. Use your imagination, use a dome, because when you're using your imagination, you're literally putting energy forth towards that. It may seem woo woo and all of that. And there are people that do not believe in that, and they believe more in the prayer than they do anything else. That's fine. Do whatever you feel comfortable doing. But I highly recommend walking the 4 corners. If you can't walk the 4 corners, walk as many sections of the property that you can get to. And then also ground and center yourself before you do this. That's a whole nother subject. So ground center, do a prayer of meditation if you want, do the walking around the property, come back in and then say, hey, we need to have a family meeting. The other thing you can do is actually protect the building and literally walk the entire house outside of the house. I know people that do that. I know people that have used salt on the outer edges of the building. I've known people to use red brick dust to use as protection. That's an old school. I know people that take nails and put them in the shape of a cross, and put those surrounding the property as well. So there's all different kinds of methods that you can use or try to use before you have a family meeting and have a ghost meeting with them. You may not be able to hear them, but let them know that you're trying to be neutral. If they need help, let them find put up your boundaries and say, look, I'm willing to help you out, but you got to help me. What is it that you need? And you have to do it in a polite fashion that doesn't disrupt my entire family. Don't keep us awake throughout the night, that kind of thing. I've been down that road before, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you've got a spirit who just really wants the attention, and it's like, okay, you're walking over my boundaries, we're going to have a talk, and then you're leaving, because I will not put up with this BS.
Right.
So there are things that you can do. But this does not feel, in my opinion, right at this second, does not feel demonic, does not feel evil or negative. It feels like he is searching, and I don't quite understand why or what for. The issue of having somebody not show up on a Ring camera, that is a little disturbing to me. That doesn't necessarily show shadow people. And somebody in astral would not have that ability. A spirit would definitely have that ability. An ET could have that ability. There are numerous different possibilities for something like that. Yeah,
Well, I agree
definitely
with you.
keep a journal.
I agree with you because in the searching and not being malevolent, I agree with you on those and trying to get our attention. I also believe, I
Yeah.
mean, it lines up with what I thought and how I felt about it because I'll tell you what, those things happen in pretty close proximity of each other. And since this happened and since we caught the full body image on camera, we haven't had anything else happen since then. And I think it was simply to get attention, and then I feel like it was something that was related to someone that was here before us, and that this was
It's a
still
possibility.
trapped in the home, and and because when we moved here, the house, well, when we came to look at the house was still occupied by the family. And what I did was I looked through all the records of people who died in the area over the years, and I couldn't find anything that tied to this address directly. But there's obviously going to be some things that aren't reported as well.
True.
That don't make, yeah, and that's what I was feeling. So I don't think I think maybe it's gone at this point, but I think what you're reading is totally on point. So I just wanted to let you know that because
And I
it's
appreciate that.
exactly how I felt about it, and that really lets me know that you are really feeling these things, that you're really drawing these things in. So I
Well,
think
just
that's
an
excellent.
thank you. Just an FYI, the other thing that if you ever come across something like this again, the other thing that just dawned on me is one of the things that I would do is I would find out the address of where oh, I'm still working on that one. One of the things that I would do is I would find the address of the people who lived there before, and that might not be so easy. And say, hey, if you were related to the people who lived here, they moved on to this address. That may not be the best advice, but if they are attached to that person and they are grounded, they should technically be able to follow that family, follow the energy. But maybe they're not capable for whatever reason. I know that has happened. It doesn't happen very often, but I do know it can happen. Typically, if they're attached to a family, they'll follow the family. But if he's attached specifically to the soil, to the building itself, or to the land itself, because there are two different kinds of attachments that can happen with that. I know they're called something specific, but I don't remember the name of it. Then that's a different ballgame altogether. And the other thing that also just dawned on me is that somebody may have, without proper legal authorization, may have spread at somebody's ashes on the property. I have heard of things like that happening. And then something similar like this happening. So, but boy, that's been quite a while since I've heard stuff like that. So I don't hear hardly at all about it anymore, but it is a possibility. There's so many possibilities to this. It's not even funny. But that's just an FYI for anyone who's listening.
Yeah, definitely. Well, here's the thing, Nikki. I'd love the input that you had today, and it'd be
Yeah.
awesome if you come back and join the conversation again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We'll be doing this again. We're doing this every Saturday and Sunday after the after hours. So,
Yeah.
So what we'll do, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up right now, and we'll be back tomorrow. So please join us for that. And I do thank you for reading that for me, because like I
You're
stated, that
welcome.
lined up right with what I was feeling, and I've said this before. So you're definitely a valuable voice to the conversation. For anyone who doesn't know, Nikki Angels Our Life has a YouTube channel. You hearing what the awesome information she's giving. So please make sure that you go over there and subscribe.
Restore Belief with Nikki is the name of the YouTube channel.
Restore Belief with Nikki? Okay.
Yeah, Restore Belief with Nikki. Angels Are Life is the one that I use mostly for music and file folders and music and stuff like that, and use it for chat and stuff. So that's how everybody knows me. They've known me for that way since 2011 or something like that. But I started the Restore Belief in last year. I had to think about that. So
well, I love
anyway,
your voice. I love your point of view, and I would like to have you come back and talk again.
You got it, dear.
All right, Nikki. Thanks for
coming through. Get me up anytime. Take care.
I will, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the show here.
You got it.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right, guys. Looks like I still have some camera left, so I'm going to come back on the screen. And thank you guys for coming through and sharing your evening with me, with everyone else. Great time as always. Always awesome conversation. You know, sometimes it takes time to get to it, you know, but we're going to figure this thing out. You know what I mean? We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna have those banging conversations from the beginning of the show, and make it a great listen for those who are just tuning in. If you just hit us up, you're just tuning in, go back and watch again, man. It's a great show, and the previous shows, awesome shows. In the beginning of this conversation, we talked about the whole financial thing, and we were getting into that. You really want to hear some great conversation about that. The last show, which was, so this is 29th, 30th, so it'd be the October 23rd show, is listed on the thumbnail, October 23rd, 2023. Watch that episode. Everything's great during the whole thing, but I'd say if you go to the last hour, then you'll tune in to the financial part of that. And I think we said some things and covered some things that will really blow your mind and really make you rethink how it is that we live and what we're living through and what we're doing here. So once again, we do this for the positive progression of humanity. That's why we get together. That's why, you know, we do a few hours even after the after hours, because it's something that has to happen. This conversation has to happen. The real conversations have to happen. And this is definitely going to be the place where you can do that. Once again, like Area 51 said, we'd love to hear more voices. Angels Are Life. Nikki, thank you for coming in and being that new voice. That's another new voice. Susie B. Salute to Susie B, because she's always on the team, and I really appreciate everyone's participation. The chat has been going hard so long. I'm gonna try to go back and get as many people as I can. We got Maggie M10, thank you for coming. Eugene, thank you for stopping through. Nikki again, thanks for coming. Saab, thanks for coming. Jessica S, thank you for coming. I know Kira came through in the beginning. Thank you, Kira. Magneticus, thanks for participating. Thanks for coming through. Black Dragon, appreciate you. We'll do this again. Derek Galloway, dude, get on the grind, dude. Get on the grind and get on the phone. Let's see. Let's go back. I said Eugene, but I'm gonna say it again. Eugene. Let me go back. And the lurkers out there, if you didn't participate in the chat, make sure that you, maybe hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so we could come back and have this conversation again. I really appreciate your input. It all matters. And let me make sure. I'm going to go back a little further in the chat because I just want to make sure. Let's see. I know I saw some other names that I did not hit. Ooh, Desiree. Thanks for coming. And Desiree, if you're listening, please get on this dude, Derek Galloway. Make sure he calls in and talks about his experience, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah. Let me put that up on the screen. Hello, everyone. Is Derek behaving himself? Not really, Desiree. Not really. Okay, let's go back. Not really, Desiree. I'm glad you came through. Somebody's got to hold Derek accountable. I said Sovereign. Yeah, I said Sovereign. Let's go back. Come on. Ange, thanks for coming through. Black Dragon, thank you for coming. Tamothman, thanks for coming. JSCO77, thank you for coming. Thanks for making this what it is. Bomber, thanks for coming. We appreciate you. Deb from SAC, thanks for coming. Mike Bothwell, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Dogman UK man, thanks for coming. Let's see. I think we're almost at the beginning, so Welshammer, thanks for coming. Yowzers, the chat was bumping, man. The chat was definitely bumping today. Okay, Lovey Love, thanks for coming. Nicole Weber, Coley, thanks for coming, obviously, right? Coley. Browndorf, thanks for coming. Crystal J, thank you for coming. Had a lot of names. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys. Once again, this thing is for you guys, man. I talked for 3 hours before this. This has nothing to do with me wanting to hear my voice. Mike Bothwell, if I didn't say it, thanks for coming. Christine, thanks for coming. And I think that'll do it. Neil Warden, obviously, thanks for coming. And thanks for the voicemails. We'll play those again on After Hour. W. Decker, appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Catch us on the rewatch. My name is Mr. Rob G, guys. This is the Social Dig. Thanks for coming through and spending your time. Have a great rest of your night. See you guys tomorrow. Take care.